And that's why I did it this way, because I wanted to be able to do decks and drafts in such a way that people like didn't think it was just decks and more card game tournament shit. Like
Yeah.
I needed to get beer across. And part of getting beer across, I had that, and I had cards and crafts for craft beer. That was the other option that I had right out of the gate. But I can't
Those
do
are
that
good
either,
names.
because you've got like greeting card makers that are literally going to breweries. Yeah, so you have arts and crafts, basically, is what happens.
Gotcha. I
Which are
like the
things. They're cool.
originality though, because my name is just Bronson. I gave up.
And you know, there's no messing around with that.
Oh yeah.
I know what I'm getting into. Drinking with Bronson. Done.
Yep.
Decks and Draughts. What the hell is that? See, I'm already at a disadvantage.
Not at all. No, no, I get you. You know, you have decks of cards and you're playing games, and then also you're drinking beer while you're doing it. I really like your intro. I mean, you said it like it is. Like, hey, I like playing games. I like drinking beer. I want to do them both at
There
the
you go.
same time and press the record button.
Speaking of that, are we on? Like, I'm gonna crack this bad boy.
Oh yeah, man, we're on.
Oh yeah, okay. Just I'm used to seeing like random record buttons and what. I'm new to this. Shut up.
Dude, I'm new to it
no.
too. Honestly, I hate intros too. I don't know about you if you know this about me. I just like record and then I'll just I'll cut off like beginning parts of videos, but then I'll just like get right into it. I don't know. Intros are the hardest thing with content creation. People don't notice. Like I'll re-record a video like 12 times, right? And 100% of those times are just the intro 20 seconds where it's hard to like begin a conversation. You know what I mean? It's so much easier to
Yeah,
just start mid conversation when you're talking.
I dig that. It's kind of fun, more fun to listen to. Jordan gave me
Yeah.
crap for it because we were talking about like pet peeves.
Uh-huh.
And one of his big ones was "Hey guys, hey guys," and I was like, crap. I bet I do that in like every video. And
I
now I'm
used to
like
do
very
it.
conscious, like trying to get out of it. So now it's just Joe, decks and drafts, off we go.
That's a good intro. Intros, yeah, that's a good one because you're right. When you say "Hey guys" or "What's up, my friends," like it's so awkward. It's just cringy when I say certain sayings and I'm like, should I be saying this? So now I've been just doing like midway conversation of what I'm trying to talk about. I don't know, man. It's
Steve Martin actually did a masterclass talking about comedy, and one of the first things that he said, just because I liked watching that, I had a year masterclass, I thought it was kind of fun to watch.
Mhm.
But one of like the first things he said is the worst thing you can do, the thing he loathes the absolute most, is the "how y'all doing" line. Like he has never come out and said, "How's everyone doing? How y'all do?" He's never warmed the
Really.
audience up that way.
What
Because he
was
just
his
hates it. He thinks,
recommendation?
huh?
What was his
Just go.
recommendation? Just go.
Go do something wacky. I mean, or in his case, wild and crazy.
Yeah.
Because he's your wild and crazy guy. But he just goes, just disarms the audience right out of the gate. And I kind of looked back, I was like, shit, you're right.
Yeah.
And then I went back to look at a bunch of my videos, like, how many times do I do "Hey guys"? It's like 50-50. Like, shit.
Well, I think it's just, when you're starting out, you're just like, I don't know what to do and getting into the groove of it. And I mean, a lot of in the beginning, I was like, hey man, like that's how it'd start. Like, hey man, like I was like, oh, that's my thing. But then even after that, I felt like a little like cringy. I don't know, it just didn't feel
Yeah.
natural. And it's hard too because this is like so unnatural as well. Because when we're recording, we're like staring at a little piece of plastic, a
Yeah,
camera
right.
recording. It's not very personal at all to have a conversation, but you have to like embody that when you're content creating. It's a very odd thing to really master, I think. I'm still trying to get
Yeah.
a handle of it.
Yeah, I'm still kind of working it myself. Anyway, I'm going to divert for just a sec
Go
because
for it.
I don't know about you, but I want to know what you're drinking.
I'm drinking some of that Independence Harbor. It's a knockoff beer of Sam Adams, and you can get this at the Aldi's. Good stuff. What about you?
We don't have all these out here.
Oh yeah?
we missed that. We missed that boat.
What
I'm
are you
drinking something called
drinking?
Pals.
Pals?
Pals.
Pals, okay.
It's so this was cool. We were chatting about it before we started this, is that I as part of doing decks and drafts, one of the things I want to do is just like collaborate, have a beer and play a game.
Mhm.
But in some of that comes beer trades. So this is actually a beer trade. Mitch Murray, Midtown Merchant, I
Yep,
think.
midtownmerchant.com. Great guy. Love
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. So he reached out, and we were actually talking about my Learn to Play kit that I made up.
Mhm.
And then we started talking about beer, because the second I say I'm doing this, I think with you also, everyone's just like, beer. Good. Like, let's go. So yeah, we did a beer trade. So he sent me some of his, as well as a pint glass that I used last night and I need to clean.
No way.
Um,
Like, just because you're, buying cards off of him and you're like, "Yo, you wanna do a beer trade?"
I haven't bought. The only thing I've ever bought from him
Mhm.
was bulk. I just bought bulk so I can build decks.
Nice.
That's it. But I said, and we were talking. He's like, "Hey, let's do an episode together." And I was like, let's do one better." So he sent me beer and pint glass. I sent him a bunch of beer back. So yeah, we're gonna record actually a little later today.
Nice, man.
Um,
Mitch is
and then
such a
yeah,
cool guy. I've drinking with him, I'm drinking with Bronson, and he's a really cool guy. You know what I like about Mitch too is when I did my first thing with drinking with Bronson, it was with him. He was in episode 1, and he
nice.
went on for a while, and then after we done recording, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did I go on too much? I know I go into tangents." I was like, "Dude, that was perfect." Because when I was starting out, I didn't like. I was like, "How do I do this whole like talking with another human being for flesh and blood?" But he just went on a roll, and man, the way he thinks is just a totally different aspect when he's running a store than as a player myself. It's cool. I'm gonna
Yeah,
be interested
I'm
to see you
excited to
guys
chat more.
talk.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. It's gonna be the first time I do what I've wanted to do with the channel anyway, which was drink beers and play a game. Because that's what Decks and Drafts was. It was a Facebook event where we would go on Tuesday nights to random breweries and play cards.
Oh, that's where it
There you
came?
go.
Like, that was the name of the,
That's
event?
what I called it. That's what I call the event was Decks and Drafts.
Oh, nice,
Hey,
dude.
meet me at Epic. Meet me at this place in Denver. Let's bring some cards. Be it Magic, be it Keyforge, be it Star Wars, be it Netrunner, Final Fantasy. This a couple years ago. And then yeah, we just all drank beer, and it was great because the brewery would be like, "Hey, you're bringing people in the door on a Tuesday. Um, if you're a part of the game night, you get $1 off pints. Thanks for bringing
Oh,
business."
wow. And
So
is this like a local, place? Establishment?
it
Or
was.
yeah.
I mean, it went to random breweries. So I was like, "Hey, where do we feel like going?" Well, Epic Brewing created, made something amazing, and or 14er made something amazing, or 10 Barrel made something amazing. By the way, everyone, that's Luna.
Luna, your
That's the
cat?
cat.
Oh, nice.
That's the cat. But yeah, so we just did it every Tuesday, and it was awesome. Just show up, play. It wasn't anything major. One of these days, I might turn it into my own brewery.
That'd be cool,
That's what I
man.
want to do.
And I mean, I could really see the whole collaboration of a brewery slash trading card game, a local game store and brewery. I mean,
Yeah.
that just sounds really smart. I mean, you get
Mhm.
people in the door playing games, and they're going to stay a while, and you serve them beer and finger food. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
that's a
It was
really
awesome.
good thing in the future. Like a business model is what I'm saying, you know.
Mhm.
And I think we have a place
Yeah.
near us called Cloak and Blaster, and it's a very similar thing to that where they have
Nice.
games but also things to eat.
I think it'd be fun. Like I see too many nerd bars do one side half-assed and the other side they just kind of crush. And usually it's the bar side that they're gonna crush because that's
Yeah,
really where the money is. But then the nerd side is just, oh, we put memorabilia on the walls, we put posters and crap. Like,
Monopoly, and yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah, like I
I feel that.
don't care. So the nerd part becomes kind of a novelty. It's like you sold out.
Yeah.
Um, speaking of selling out, speaking of nerd novelty, I told you that I had a pretty cool glass for you as well. Um, so we have our Denver Comic Con. Back when it's called Comic Con, now it's something different. But we had Comic Con
Hmm.
every year. Brewery called Breckenridge Brewery brews a beer specifically for it, and they make it super nerd themed, and they come out with a glass. So in this case, this glass is Ragnarok. This was when Thor Ragnarok came out.
Oh, nice.
Um, as you could probably tell, it was raspberry. This is not raspberry. This is very hazy, double dry hopped
That's cool, man. What
IPA.
kind of kind of beer is it?
Ragnarok was oh man, holy crap, that's good. Sorry, trying it for the first time. Ragnarok,
Yeah, the
what
beer
the
you're
hell?
drinking now, though.
I
What
think it
kind of
was just
beer
a
is it?
raspberry fruited ale.
Raspberry fruit ale? Wow.
I think it was just raspberry fruit ale. So they do
I haven't
easy
drinking
drinking. It's
too
in the
many of
summer.
those. Yeah, it's like a sweet kind of beer.
Yeah. So if you've ever had like a fruited sour or something like that, it's just that minus the sour part.
Nice, man. Yeah, I don't drink too much that often now, but when I do get a beer in, it's nice, you know. I had my adventurous years early on, but now it's just like can't do it as hard as I used to. So, getting up there in age.
I say that and I remind myself of yesterday where we went pretty hard because it was National Beer Day at the time I'm recording this. That
Hmm.
was that was yesterday. Did way too much. And then Mitch's package comes in, and we're
Oh,
like, we could do one more. We can enjoy this and explore this. And of course, he gives me a 12% stout. That's fantastic.
oh, geez, yeah,
Um,
those catch up, and you don't even realize because 12%. I mean, that's essentially a wine right there. I mean,
yeah. So that finished us off. We were done after that. That was the end of our night. Wife's actually home right now, suffering from drank too much.
oh
She
no,
was supposed to work today. So,
but
but
yeah,
yeah, it's we have a corgi as well who is in hiding. You
oh,
see her pop
corgis
up
are really
sometimes on
cool. If
my
I got a
channel. So yeah,
dog, it would probably be a corgi. I really like them. I used to
they're
watch
great
Cowboy
burritos.
Bebop, and man, corgis are really cool. But yeah, man.
Man,
So
Cowboy Bebop. That was back in the back when I was in anime.
yeah, 1990s. It's a good era.
Kind of got away from it, but
But yeah, man. So you started a Flesh and Blood YouTube channel mainly, right? Like I know you started out, and then this is kind of like the first game you're doing, right? Like, so what got you into Flesh and Blood, and like where did you come around with card games? Like, what did you start with? Because like when I first started, it was like all about Magic the Gathering, and I still have a lot of Magic the Gathering like sets, complete sets, and stuff like that. But in the last I think 6 to 7 months, I've just been all in with Flesh and Blood. It's just like my number
yeah, I'll
one
show you where I
passion, and
started.
it's amazing.
Show you right where I started.
Oh, you. Let's see what he has.
So I started with Magic.
Yeah,
Magic was the number one,
way
but
back.
I lived
What
in
year?
huh
What year did you get into
90,
Magic?
95.
Nice, man.
I forgot when it started. It was so all right. So here's the story. Um, I was a kiddo, like first, second grade.
Hmm.
Magic just came out with this new game, or Wizards just came out with this new game called Magic the Gathering, and our school did a hobby day. Whole bunch of people come out and just share the stuff that they like doing in the hopes that kids who are learning about hobbies find something that they like.
Uh huh.
So they handed out free Magic the Gathering decks. I fell in love with it. Had the time of my life.
Wow.
Um, but I lived in Louisiana. So when my parents saw the cards and they saw the black ones and they saw Unholy Strength and they saw Terror and they was like,
Yeah,
well, you're
demonic
going to
attorney.
hell. Yep. So I was going to hell unless I threw them all in a garbage can. So I had to throw them all away.
Oh,
I remember saying we had an Econoline van. Remember those 20 seaters?
oh yeah.
They sat seven, but you crammed everyone in.
They were big.
Yeah, like 5 miles to the gallon. They were great. But yeah, I was sitting outside my godfather's house and I threw them all away. That's where it started. Where it picked up real quick though, the Cypher 95 Star
Decipher.
Wars CCG.
I've never heard of this one. Did it
That's
fade away?
that's the name of the company that created Star Wars,
Oh
the
wow.
original Star Wars card game. They were the first to crack it.
And this card
Um,
game was a little bit better because it's like, oh, Star Wars. It's family friendly. It's not as bad as Magic, right?
Star Wars, yeah. I mean, from that perspective, absolutely, they had no problem with me playing Star Wars. The game was fantastic. Wizards bought the Star Wars license in 2003, 2002, so that was the end of that game. Game was amazing though. Every set was like new. Did you ever play Villainous? Have you ever played the Villainous board game?
No, not at all.
One, it's amazing. It's so much fun. But it's a basic set of mechanics, but who you are, what you're playing, what you need to do is wildly different.
Hmm.
And it just kind of centers around a certain set of mechanics. Star Wars is the same way. It has a certain set of mechanics, but you can go wild as far as what you want to do. If you want to control Hoth, go for it. If you want Ewoks to wreck your face, you can build a deck for Ewoks. My deck was the Cantina Band. I got Figuring Down in the modal nodes, just crushing like crazy. You can do sky battles. So if you want to take down the Death Star, you build a deck around the Death Star. If you're the light side, part of that building the deck around the Death Star is finding the Death Star. So you actually have little missions of getting the Death Star plans, which allow you to bring out the Death Star that you have now found so you can go blow it up.
So were there multiple ways of winning the end game? Like, was it 1v1 or was it player versus enemy?
It's 1v1.
Hmm.
The only way you win, so the way that it worked is that your deck, your hand, everything that you had that were cards that were not played is your life total.
Hmm.
Um, the things that you do took away force, was what it was called. Force was basically any card in your hand or in your deck.
That's good flavor.
Yeah. So yeah, oh god, there's so much flavor. Flavor, Easter eggs, they did so much right, really. They also went heavy into lore.
Hmm.
So you would get like these really cool stories. I'm trying to find an example. I'm trying to see if I can find an example of.
Well, what's great about that is the lore is basically already written. The cards just need to, you know, have
Yeah,
the
the thing
lore
that
in them. But
for
it sounds
sure.
like a really cool game. And so they came out in 1996. Decipher created this, but then WotC eventually purchased the rights to the TCG in 2002.
The
Yeah,
license was coming up.
hmm.
On top of that, we weren't expecting when this thing started, we weren't expecting the prequels. Decipher was not expecting the prequels, but they saw this and was like, well, awesome. We have new content for the next decade.
Yeah,
Um, but with new prequels comes new licensing agreement. It's Star Wars, so
yeah.
they wanted way too much money. WotC came in and said, "We have it because we're terrible." Um, and yeah, took over the license. But what they did that was super cool because this game's still going. You can find it. They're still making new sets. You can play it for free
Wow.
on a site called GEMP, GEMP. Rockin' interface, so much fun. I'm actually getting to play with some guys tomorrow. They're up here. They flew out because for whatever reason. So
Mhm.
yeah, we're gonna actually play some Star Wars live tomorrow night. I'm really excited.
Nice, man.
But what Decipher did was they said, "Hey, we had all these plans for this game. Take it." They created something called a players committee and said, "Hey, players committee, here's everything we wanted to do. Here are mechanics. Here are some card ideas. Here's what we were thinking for episode 2. Run with it." Because the internet was just starting to kick in.
Hmm.
It's just kind of becoming a thing that people knew how to use.
Hmm.
And yeah, they made the players committee recently released virtual set 14. Like they're getting into the new movies, they're getting into Rebels and Clone Wars, and they're just having a blast. And it's all free and it's all just fan made, fan done.
That's crazy. So they really said, "Hey, these are the core mechanics we have for this game," and they open it up to the community. And it sounds almost like when games have these mods, where people in the community create these insane mods. I don't know how these people spend all this time on mod creation, and they make such good things for a game. Like the biggest one I know of is Skyrim. Like if you've played the Elder
Oh
Scrolls
god, yeah,
games,
all the Skyrim
there's
mods.
people who spend thousands of hours in their basement creating mods to put out, and then players get this huge experience for free. And it's just ridiculous how many different people there are that contribute to that. So it's interesting to
Yeah.
see that that's happened for a TCG where the company said, "Yo, here's what we have, run with it." And
Yeah.
of course,
What
it needs to be moderated in some extent, but that's a really
Well,
cool
what's been
thing.
especially cool is that some of the original game designers and game illustrators have come out in support of the virtual sets. Not that they're
Wow.
necessarily illustrating because legally they can't,
Yeah.
per se, but some of the game designers are like, "Yeah, we were thinking about this with this," and like set 14 comes out. They have a little bit of a hand in that in the rules creation and play testing. Like they took it really seriously.
Gotcha.
Um, One of the things that we've been a big fan of for people who've been playing the game is The Mandalorian. The guys who wrote it were very clearly Star Wars CCG players.
Oh, really?
Um, there is some lore. So specifically, I assume you've seen Mandalorian.
Yes.
If not, spoilers. There's a there's a
Spoiler.
scene with the crate dragon. There's the episode with the crate dragon.
I remember.
And they were talking specifically about his roar. And kind of the epicness of the roar, which really, so that scene is straight out of Star Wars CCG. It did not exist in lore
Wow.
prior. There was a card in the original called, I think, Old Ben or something, or no, it was literally called Crate Dragon War, and it's Obi-Wan when he scares off the Tusken Raiders.
Mhm.
But we didn't necessarily know what that was. Like he didn't say, "Oh, that's the roar of a crate dragon." So the card game guys came up with it. They
Wow.
said it was that he was recreating the Crate Dragon War to scare everybody away. Um, and then yeah, Mandalorian comes in and literally talks about that exact thing that didn't exist except in one card.
That's
And they
crazy,
just
and then
lost their
that made it
mind.
canon. I mean, that's really an interesting thing how you have a community giving ideas and fan fiction and then it ultimately becomes part of the real canon because it was in The Mandalorian. That's interesting, and it's
Yeah,
smart in a way because I mean, the people who create the game, they don't have to take different advice, but if they hear a thing and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's good. We need to add that." Yeah, I mean, I could see Flesh and Blood doing that in the future too. So you start out with
that'd be
Magic
super.
the Gathering 1995, which was extremely early on in the game, man. Like whoever introduced you to that in second grade must have been like one of the early adopters. And then so you had to throw your cards away. You got
I had to throw my
into
cards
Star
away.
Wars, and then
Got into Star
where'd you
Wars.
go from there,
Star
man?
Wars took me for a while.
Hmm.
I mean, it took me for as long as it could. Got out for a little bit, dabbled back and forth, between, in Magic, just did did a year here and there, did
Hmm.
some drafts. I came around kind of the time Phyrexia was a thing, um, which was pretty fun, sort of. Um, and then, yeah, we kind of get into the recent swing of things. I got really big into Netrunner when Fantasy Flight put that out, Android Netrunner, the
I've heard a
LCG.
lot of great things about that, and that's another one where WotC pulled the plug.
Yep. That one was fair. So that one was understand. I just did a whole video on licensing.
Really?
And just talking about the marketing challenges with licensing and what happens. Because we actually, sorry for everybody watching. I'm just randomly picking crap.
You're good, man.
So hope you like my wet. Okay, here we go. So actually, really quickly to jump in, when Star Wars lost the license, when Decipher lost the license for Star Wars, they created the same exact game
Hmm.
in a game called Wars. They made their own IP, made the same exact game as Star Wars. It
Oh,
was
that's
actually kind of cool.
crazy.
It failed miserably. Um, but yeah, so I was talking about licensing stuff. I found some gems.
What are those?
Just, these are Sailor Moon and Card Captors.
Oh.
They're awful. They are unplayable.
But is that just mainly because they wanted to make a game off of the IP, so they didn't
Yeah,
really care about the gameplay? That makes sense.
yeah, you try to make a quick buck, except they made sets. I don't know why they made collector sets. So now you've got Card Captor and Sailor Moon fans who see this thing and think it's neat. You're trying to turn them into card gamers with
Mm.
a game that is just basically unplayable. Um, whatever, whatever.
Well, that's why I see
Um,
that there's a lot of games like I think the Weiss Schwartz, and there's a couple other
mhm,
ones that actually have a base game now, but then they look for all these IPs to integrate into their game and to
yeah,
go with the mechanics in their game. Because
yeah, I
that's a
love that
good
stuff.
thing. I think it's good if a franchise is just known for that, and they say, "Hey,
Mhm,
we're gonna do this forever," and we're just take
yeah,
all these different universes and put them into a game because they have really great mechanics. So you're not reinventing the wheel. All you have to do is you basically take the artwork that already exists and then paste
yeah,
it on mechanically, cards, and then you're done.
yeah.
So
I'd love this
yeah,
win condition. I would love Weiss Schwartz Cowboy Bebop.
yeah.
Totally fine. But anyway, getting back to it. So yeah, Android Netrunner, Fantasy Flight gets bought by Asmodee. Wizards gets bought by Hasbro.
Hmm.
Two are direct competitors to extremes. So when that licensing agreement came up, there was
Yeah.
no saving it. Which was unfortunate because Netrunner is one of the best card games I've ever played in my life. They also have the community. Project Nisei is still going strong. They're still making sets. They actually just released a kind of a core set. Welcome back to the game
Hmm.
for those of us who left a couple years ago when the game kind of died, myself included.
When I heard that from
Um,
a lot of people, that the game was one of the best games that a lot of people played in their life.
oh God, it was
Mitch from
incredible.
Midtown Merchant, he's told me like, "Hey, this is like the one of the best games." Fab is better in his mind, mine too. But like Netrunner was really high up there. It was like a really good game, and it sucks because I feel like it was gaining traction in 2019, but then it was
Mhm.
pulled the plug on. But it's just weird how they don't like re-release it themselves instead of licensing it or try to find another person to license it to, because it's like it seems like the community was really building up. And I don't know if you watch Team Covenant, but one of the guys on Team Covenant, it was one of his favorite games too, and I could just
Oh yeah,
hear the disappointment in his voice, just be like, man, like I love this game. I can't believe when we heard that it was just such a bomb drop, and I can't
we
imagine.
we got added insult to injury when that ended because not only did that end,
Hmm.
not only did it end, but the final set was kind of a deluxe expansion. there was this new guy that came in, I think like the year before it went out, as a game designer, and this was his baby.
Mhm.
And what he did to that game in one deluxe expansion, there were a couple cycles where the game kind of sucked. Like, the meta was just real bad. It was negative play experiences constantly.
Mhm.
He comes in, it's like the third set from Magic Cycles where it's just, well, we're done with this. Let's be as insane as we can be. That's what he did. And we were just
Wow.
like, oh God, please keep this going. Pulled the plug right after. We're like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
So yeah, I did Netrunner for a while. And then I got into, I started getting into Final Fantasy, the Final Fantasy card game. That game is also fan-fucking-tastic.
That's really good too.
It just plays wonderfully. The community is just as good as Fab. Fab might be a little bit better because it's gaining a lot more steam. So it's just easier to find it.
Mhm.
Game's incredible. I love the living crap out of it. And then Flesh and Blood shows up, and I'm hesitant because I'm like, I want to get my hands on this game. The only place you can are secondary market prices.
Oh,
So
yeah.
no, that turned me off to the game in a heartbeat.
It's not in your
I
local
just kind of,
store, and they don't
huh?
sell like, the local game store near you doesn't have it at all, and, just
Didn't.
nowhere?
We're back to it. I came in right before the unlimited restocks happened,
Mhm.
but like a month or two after people realized that Crucible War has value.
Yeah. I remember that
I
time.
came into the stupidest time to get into this game, but blame Rudy. I kept seeing him talk about it, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of want to look into what this game is, and it's everything I loved about Netrunner. I think I'm excited that Mitch knows Netrunner. It's probably what we're going to talk about a little bit.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
you cannot win that game playing solitaire. You just can't. There are too many ways for the opponent to come at you and launch at you, and they will screw you up if you ignore them. And that's what Flesh and Blood is.
Yep.
It's stellar. And then yeah, that got me into Flesh and Blood, and then there wasn't really much of a community in Colorado, at least where I'm at. I'm in North Colorado. If I wanted to play, I'm going 2.5 hours down to Colorado Springs, or I'm going an hour and a half north to Wyoming. So I'm like, I've got to try to build a community. So I put on my project management hat, my marketing hat, my training hat. That's my career background.
Oh, nice.
Um, and I've started just doing stuff. So I've got the learn to play kit things that has been getting around like crazy. I built the bulk decks. I'm reaching out to game stores,
Yeah,
being
it
like,
seems
I
like
will.
the community is mainly online. Like the local scenes are really hard. I mean, there's a couple that have flared up, around the places, but just the online community with the skirmish events, especially. I mean, you and we played, I think 2 weeks ago in a skirmish event, and it's like it draws all these people from around the world onto the online space and playing the game. But I mean, for the time being, I think it's going to be that. But I can see definitely when this game picks up and game stores are actually open to actually play this game, a lot more people are going to realize that it's just it's just amazing. And I think the best part of the gameplay, and I'm going to relate this to Netrunner, is the flavor and immersion. You feel like you are the character that you're playing. And in
Oh
Netrunner, I
yeah,
know you're either the corporation and you're building all these defenses to your servers, you're preventing the runners from coming onto your, network. And then if you're the runner,
you're a
you're build
genius.
yeah, you're a genius. You're building your PC to, pass all these like different the trap cards that they have. I forgot the name of
Yeah,
them. But
ice.
ice, that's what it
It's
is.
their version of a firewall.
Exactly.
Ice.
And with Flesh and Blood, it's the same way. You feel like you're a ninja or a guardian or a rune blade, and that whole thing with throughout the game, like you're taking hits, and then you really feel exhausted at the end of the game, where you're only on like 2 health or 3 health, and you're like, oh man, I'm my deck is getting low. I'm getting exhausted. So I feel like that type of immersion is really good because with other games, I feel and other games have good pros and cons as well, but they're more of you are a summoner, and I think that that's a kind of a writer's convenience in a way of like, oh,
Mhm.
you're just gonna play all these cards and you're gonna play these
Yeah,
things, and but it's
it's in
just kind of
Magic.
I'm picturing like I'm this mage with like a staff, and I'm just like teleporting things into existence, but that doesn't
That's
feel
basically what Magic is,
yeah, but that
and
doesn't
Doctor
really feel
Strange.
immersive to me. But when I see a person with a hammer like Guardian, I'm like, okay, this is easy for me to comprehend. I am this guy, you know. So
I think
anyway.
one of the things that I love the most about Flesh and Blood that's so unique is it's one of the very few games I've ever played. I'm trying to think of another one, and I'm slipping, where
Mhm.
you get weaker as the game goes on, not stronger.
That's
Usually,
true.
you're building up your engine and you're getting into a rhythm where the world is your oyster. And Flesh and Blood, you're like, if I step on an oyster, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
I can't. I gotta be careful. And I love that. It actually feels like a battle,
Yeah.
which is cool. Not, like you mentioned, just pop, pop. It's a thing. It's a monster. It's a bigger monster. Okay. So what?
Yeah,
Um,
no, exactly. It just feels that is a good point too. There's not too many other games that are like that where you feel less and less powerful because Netrunner you feel more and more powerful. I mean, if you're winning, of
oh yeah.
course. But yeah, you have a bigger hardware and computer if you're the runner or corporation. You have all this
Yeah.
ice and you
I've
have
got my
everything down.
server from Doom you've got to get through.
Yeah,
Yeah, Magic, I've got all the enchantments, I got all the monsters that are working together. I mean, even Final Fantasy is similar in that you create backups basically that think of it like your mana,
hmm
except they're actual characters that can do things, as well as tap for a resource. You get your max of 5 of those and go ham, and you build an engine where when things happen, everybody triggers. Um, and you do that. You go. Not Flesh and Blood. You got 4 cards in your hands. Hope you can defend.
yeah. No, that's a good point. And getting strategies around being less and less able to defend later game is important. I know I listened to Kill McCreath, and he says apparently when he's a fellow Bravo player, he's probably the best Bravo player out there, one of the best. And he says that he doesn't like to do his big turn with crippling crushes and stuff until later in the game when his opponents doesn't have as many defense reactions and stuff. And I thought that
Mhm.
was really smart. And I can definitely see
Yeah.
how that's a strategy where you block a lot earlier game. You try to get your opponent like to use all their big stuff, and then
Mhm.
later game you just come out and pound. And what's really cool too is the whole aspect of when you pitch, you put that on the bottom of your deck. So if you're good at counting cards like poker and stuff, later game you can know
Yeah.
exactly what your opponent's going to have in their hand or very close to, and you'll know exactly
Yeah.
what you have in your you're going to have coming up too. So that's another aspect that really hasn't been explored so far. And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm never going to be that type of person. From what I see, I'm very smooth brained, so it's going to be really I don't really am not good with that, but I could definitely see in the future some really high level thinking in the future of people being good at the game because they can memorize what cards people are pitching and all that stuff, and they know if they can go ham or if they have to like be defensive. It's just
Yeah.
there's so many cool aspects, man.
I like it. And yeah, I mean, I dig the strategy of wait till the end. I was actually just reading an article about Dash
Mhm.
and try to make maximum velocity happen as quick as possible. No, don't.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Um, and yeah, it's just like I'll let you waste your crap. Like, go or not think that it's a win condition. I think that's one of the other nice things about this game is that no card is a win condition. Not even
Yeah.
the $50,000 heart is a win condition.
Oh
It's
no.
a minor convenience. Is what it is.
Well, that's what the heart is. I totally agree with that. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. And they even said in some of their intro things, it's like you don't have like a Shivan dragon or something crazy, some big powerful card that's just gonna win you the game. It's all those little wins throughout the game makes your victory. That's a good point, and
Yeah.
that's what's cool.
And I mean, one of my favorite examples right now, because I'm trying to make Azalea work.
hmm
I'm trying to figure her out because I think we're all playing her wrong. Um, which I mean, I'm not great at the game, so who the hell am I to say that? Um, but she's got the Skullbone cross wrap, and I've been testing out Hope of Merchant's Hood
hmm
lately, and I'm almost liking it more than the cross wrap.
I could see why, because if you have that one turn where you need to close out, you pop that thing, and then you know for sure that you could get a headshot on the top of your deck. Put it face up, and then it's like what 8,
6 if it goes.
6 if it
But yeah, this
goes.
is the shuffle any number of cards, draw that many cards for everyone listening. Because the thing that I've been learning with Azalea is that she spends too much time trying to load, and then she runs out of steam, and what she fires doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
So I'm trying, or rarely does, assuming that it hits. Um, It's almost like you're just trying to make Azalea's effect happen. You spend your entire hand to do it. And then if it does, it hits for 5, guys. Like, okay, block. We're done. Shut
Well,
up.
yeah, and that's the
Um,
hard part is if you whiff that top card, that's really tough. And I think that she really has to win the game faster because all the other heroes have the luxury of having weapons that don't require or like they have an attack value. So with
yeah,
Azalea, you don't have that. So in my mind, you have to make some very early game or mid range deck. She's not good in the long game unless you build her some
yeah,
very interesting way. But I think she's very underrated, and it's good you're doing that, man. Because I think a lot of people now currently, and this is no offense to anyone who does this, they like
of
net
course.
deck, find the decks that are winning, copy that deck list, use it, and they think that that is the only way. But honestly, man, I think there's a lot of cards that are totally overlooked, and like people don't realize like how good they are. Like one I was told the other day was one it's rifting, and if you use
Oh, Rifting
rifting,
and Kano is great.
dude,
I put in
yeah,
the starters.
but dude, rifting into a time snap potion. You can rift, you
Oh,
attack,
geez.
use your next non-attack action as an instant. You gain 2 action points. So
That's
normally
kind of
when you
cool.
yeah, dude, that's amazing because if you use that normally, right? You only get 1 action point more because you spend an
Yeah, you've
action
used
to
it.
use it, and then you get 2 action points, so you only net one extra one, right? But when you do
Yeah.
rifting, you can attack with rifting using an action point and then use the time snap push and give you 2 action points. I don't know how you could really combo with that, but I'm sure there's a bunch of other things that you can do with that kind of synergy. And the amount of
Oh, I like
synergy with these cards that you look at first and you're like, this card sucks. Why would I ever want to use this? And then you realize you're like, oh wait, it can be used with this way or that way. It's just, and can you imagine with Monarch, like all those cards that are going to make like previous cards do something crazy? It's
Yeah, I hear everyone's
exciting.
buying Azalea stuff, thinking that Monarch's gonna be the set where she just explodes onto the scene. Like, all right, I'll bite.
I think
Um,
so. I mean, well, have you heard like the biggest? I know Fab Cracks was talking about this, and Red Zone Rogue, where you can have multiple Arsenal cards, and people are specking that Azalea is going to be the person who has that, where they have multiple Arsenal cards.
that'd be pretty cool. That'd
Yeah,
be pretty nuts. Um, yeah, man, that'd be fun. That also make me happy that I haven't traded my command.
your Command and Conquer. Oh
Like
yeah.
that's gonna shoot up in value the second we see a multiple Arsenal card anything.
Oh, for sure. No, Command is such a good card. I think out of all the Majestics, it's probably the most powerful in my mind. I don't know. What do you think?
I think I'm with you on that. I looked at E-Strike as well. I know E-Strike is kind of the common other choice for that one.
Hmm.
Um, but E-Strike isn't as commanding,
Yeah, or
honestly.
is
You're stacking
conquering.
2 cards out of hand. I mean, it's already a card. It's already cards out of hand. A 7's nice as a generic,
Mm,
so it's definitely versatile. Um, but yeah, as far as like seeing it just on the table, especially if you have an arsenal, you're just like shit.
yeah.
Um, I have lost actually. No, yeah, no. I was trying to remember who got the worst of it. I absolutely lost a game because of stupid Command and Conquer.
Well, yeah, if you go against Ira and she does Karachi Command and Conquer for 7, that is just rough. Like you need to have
Yeah.
armor, and if she does that later game, then you're totally screwed. And another big combo that I don't see happen too often, but if people want like Command and Conquer and pummel turns, that is just dirty because
Oh,
you can't once you do the pummel on top. If you know that you're going to go through, they can't defense react. They're literally gonna have to take the damage one, and then they're gonna have to discard a card at random, and they lose the arsenal. So it's just like that's just so dirty.
that's pretty messy.
Yeah,
I like it. Um, what I'm
great
trying
card.
with Azalea. Go ahead.
Oh no, great card. Sorry, but what are you trying with Azalea?
Yeah. What I'm trying with Azalea is I'm actually trying to leverage generics and get her in a rotation of going again and drawing cards. So I'm going like ham on Snatch, Lead the Charge, and the ones that let her just kind of keep getting gas in her hand basically because she keeps running out.
Yeah.
That's the problem. She runs out of gas too damn fast. If you're going redliner, if you're going like a red line deck, not without redliner, you're burning precious cards just to use the bow
Mhm.
for a maybe hit for 5. that sort of control that doesn't matter. So I'm trying to see like can I go wide and find ways to constantly have cards load into the arsenal without needing to do the bow or Azalea's action until like the very end. Like make her ability more of a precious commodity as opposed to her only trick in the book. Like go Legolas style. I'm gonna hit you with a bunch of stuff, and then as I'm backing away, I'm gonna hit you with the bow.
Yeah.
And make like the last arrow matter because you basically can't touch it. You're out of hand.
I could
Um,
definitely see that. I mean, what's really good too is I don't know if you run Promise of Plenties, but I
oh
was
yeah.
thinking about like the crazy part is if you get past their initial defenses, right? And you
Mm,
attack with a Promise of Plenty, right? And it hits, then you get to take a top card from your deck and put it in our arsenal. Well, guess what? If it's another Promise of Plenty, you get to attack again. So you
yeah.
can keep you can basically just this loop where you attack with Promise of Plenty and then you get another one on the top of your deck and keep attacking. And I could even see a strategy where you do that intentionally where you pitch all of your go again cards in the beginning of the game, right? And you
Mhm.
constantly keep pitching them so you know you get them late game and then you just like
That's cool. Yeah.
yeah,
I
you
like
get
that.
past their initial defenses and then you attack them with like 6 or 7 promise of plenties just constantly
Yeah.
like going past and as long as their card that they get in arsenal is not a defense react then you just kind of keep going and hit face but I agree
Mm,
with you there. I think that's a really good strategy with her and it's the problem is like a lot of the synergy decks that I see now they're not very consistent but
yeah.
when they pop off, they can just do absolutely ridiculous amount of damage and just like wreck. Like KO is a really good example. Have you played one of those
Yeah.
guys? It's just ridiculous. I mean, if he hits his ability, he's coming at you for like
Sucks.
19 or some crazy amount.
I think the only reason I won my first game in that skirmish that you and I played on
Mhm.
was because he whiffed twice in a row. I'm like, okay, I'm not dead. I'm good. Let's go.
Yeah.
And by then I'm like, all right, I got the knocks, I got the red and the ledgers. You are controlled. You are done.
Oh
Got sleep
yeah, that
dart.
would do it.
Sleep dart Rex KO's day.
Yeah, oh yeah, then you can use his hero ability.
Yeah, it's like you're just a normal six swinger with no help. Cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Have you gotten
Oh,
a participation card yet? I haven't gotten one. I'm really crossing my fingers. Hopefully, I get lucky
I've
with
only
that
done that
draw.
one event. I've only done the one skirmish,
Oh, nice.
which actually is that true? That might not be true. I think I've done two. I
2?
think I
Okay.
did two.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
think they released those yet for the participation.
yeah,
They only did the first
yeah.
one.
I did Lucky Gaming at Channel Fireball.
Nice.
Um, and then yeah, you were part of the first one, which is still one of like the coolest things that has ever happened to me. By the way, like that's a moment that's in my head.
Good.
So you know, if you're like a brand new content creator, guys, and you randomly show up in an online thing and somebody recognizes you from a channel that you had like 20 people watching, it's so like I feel like so validated. And
Oh,
it's
I'm
like
so happy to hear
that's
that, man. Yeah,
so
because when I
cool.
got on you, like I didn't know at first. I wanted to tiptoe. I was like, hey, wait, are you that Dex? Or I think I was like, are you that
You're the
cards
beer
and
guy.
beer
You're like, are
guy?
you the beer guy?
And you said
Oh
yes. I was like, "Oh yeah,
shit.
dude, I know you. I've listened to all your, a lot of your videos." Yeah,
Yeah, I lost my I just lost my mind. I was
and I
just
was
like,
the
this
first
is the
person who had
greatest
ever
thing
done that,
ever.
right? I was the first
Huh?
person who realized who you were.
First person to realize who I was of that, that wasn't a friend. Um, and I was like, oh shit. And then I start and then of course I immediately go and find you, and first thing I see, drinking with Bronson. I'm like, oh, we're gonna get along
Oh yeah, it's
great.
going down.
Cheers to that. And then yeah, I got introduced to the Canadian channel, like the Canadian Discord, which it's beer, hockey, and flesh and blood. That's the channel. I'm like, this is heaven. I'm good. I'm great.
These guys are really cool. Yeah, and you met. How did you meet Jordan from Flesh and Bones? Great guy. And what's cool is you and I were trying to start up having a chat, and I saw that you talked to him, and I was like, yeah, that's awesome. I love seeing when content creators collab and when they're just talking. It's good stuff. So like, did he reach out to you?
So I'm gonna bring it up now.
You're good.
I get to bring it up now. Um, this thing did it.
What's that?
This is my learn to play kit.
Oh, nice.
I designed a learn to play kit that is all about getting your first event off the ground.
Mhm.
So it has my bulk decks in it. It talks about how to actually like get into gem and get people going. Like there's my bulk deck lists. I made like this super well designed thing.
Dude, that looks
Started
really
posting
cool.
it around. Also made these really cool hero guides.
I didn't see this yet. I need to. Did you send it out as like a PDF?
Yeah,
That's
I'll
legit,
I'll
man.
shoot it your way.
Yeah, please.
So yeah, I started sharing it around because people are like, hey, does anybody have a bulk deck list? Does anybody have any help on how to get started? I also made a. How does this not exist?
What is
By
that?
the way, this is an event announcement. What's the type? What's the date? What's the time? And what's the unique identifier? Your store. You put it there. You put a thing for new players, and you set it on your table, and you go back to running your business instead of answering the same question 30 times.
Oh,
How is
that's
this not a
true.
thing?
That should exist. Yeah, because it's
So I
just
made
simple
one.
information that people keep asking questions for, especially with the new player guide. Like, how often do you see in the Reddit? And I understand people need to figure out how to play the game, but they're like, "Hey, new player here. I have these, 20 questions," and
Yeah.
it's all good. I'm so happy when I see new players come in, but it would be nice if there was, yeah, like the thing you had right there is like, hey, just send them that PDF. Like, hey, here's how all you need to know as a new player. That's really cool,
So yeah,
man.
this thing spread like wildfire. It's why Mitch and I started talking, George from Compete Sport and I started talking, Saint from Fabled Hunters, Saint Hung, who's one of the original investors. He reached out and was like, "Can you send me this thing?"
Oh
And I
wow.
sent him that and beer, because of course I did. Um, from our friends at Grimm Brothers, they do fairy tale themes.
Oh
Um,
nice.
so I sent him like a little care package, and then he thought I was an LGS, so he was like, "Can I buy the kit off of you, like the decks that you made in the kit?" I'm like, I'm just a
I'm just a
girl,
guy in a normal room.
just a girl." I went all Gwen Stefani for a sec. Um, so yeah, I was like, I'm not. This isn't what I do. Um, so yeah, he reached out of nowhere. This was like 2 days ago.
Wow.
He's like, "Can I buy the stuff off of you?" I'm like, "No, but I'll send it to you." Uh, so yeah, and that's been gaining steam, and that's how Jordan found me. He was like, "I'm shooting you a message. We're talking." So yeah, the second half of his our little chat is really talking about the little play kit. Um, and yeah, I've been excited about it. I haven't seen kind of anyone else to do it. People are like, "Oh, go to fleshandblood.com for these things." And the idea with the kit is that it's designed around scalability and accessibility. There's my project manager hat on again. Um, so like if you buy bulk, if you open a bunch of boxes,
Mhm.
every card is represented once. You're not doubling up on like razor reflexes and pummels, so you have to go and still buy a bunch of those while sitting on 300 versions of Wrecking Blow,
Hmm.
because you don't use it. So every deck is built so that way you are evenly distributing what you have. Easy to make. You can make all decks with one box. So it's just like, hey, if you're in a brand new store, and what I've been seeing lately is a lot of people who are saying, I'm buying bulk so I can get my store into it, which is the right way to do it, by the way.
Yep.
Um, is so that way they're not depleting their stock at all. You're doing something that's basically for free. It gets people in the door. They are more than happy to do that. And then yeah, everyone's like, this is perfect. And then I got the hero guides because I taught a buddy
Mhm.
how to play. And then I sent him on his way. And he came back to me and he said, there are no strategic choices in this game.
No
I'm like,
strategic choice? What do you mean? The whole
what
game
the
is a
hell?
strategic choice.
What is wrong with you? There's a ton of strategic choices. Every
Yeah.
turn is, even if it's not your turn, you're making strategic choices. What happened was he was playing Azalea
Mhm.
versus Kano.
Oh, well, that's tough.
You have to understand how those two work to not make it feel like you just hit once for 5 and then somebody blocks for 3 and takes 2 and then you fire a spell for 4 and you use arcane and take 2 and you just do that 20 times. And he was just so disappointed in the game. Like, there's so much more to this
Well, Kano's
than you're getting
hard
credit.
to go against. Like, that is a hard matchup. And against Kano, I
Yeah,
personally just like, you got to keep your blues in hand if you're going for the final
yeah,
kill, and you can't overextend. And sometimes you just have to go balls to the wall very early in the game. But there's so much
yeah. So I was like,
strategy into the game. But yeah,
So I was
so
like, screw it. I'm making a guide. I'm making a hero guide. So if you go to a learn to play event and you pick Azalea, I'm giving you this too. So you know strengths, weaknesses, what the hell to do with her ability, tips and tricks on how to actually play the damn character, so you don't just poke.
Dude, Joey, that looks amazing. Like your marketing background is really showing there. Oh my gosh. Like I could never make that kind of stuff. That looks really professional. So
Here's you.
I
Here you
need
go.
to
Here
see
you go.
all after we
Here's your
talk,
Bravo.
man. That's me?
That's your Bravo.
That's awesome.
Crush your foes with his hammer.
I love it. Dude, I need to see this thing now. That's crazy how a bunch of people
Right.
message out to you too, because I know Mitch is good friends with George as well. George seems like a really cool guy. I heard him talk on Louis' channel on Kitchen Table
Yeah, I
TCG.
thought that was
Seems
cool.
like a really legit dude. And then also, what is it? Saint seems really cool. He's
Same
really
hung, yeah.
passionate. I can't believe too. He was like, "Hey, let me buy this stuff from you." Like, I don't know.
Dude,
I
oh,
can see why. Huh?
it gets better. It actually gets better, and I'm not. There's certain things I'm not going to disclose, but
Yeah.
he's like, "Hey, you know, just pay for shipping." All I asked was like, "Hey, pay for shipping," and he sent me a little bit more than shipping. Um, so I'm using that as an investment, and I'm going to make decks and drafts pint glasses.
Oh,
So you're getting
nice,
a
dude.
pint glass. You're getting a
What a
pint glass from me.
me?
Um, yes,
Oh, you're too nice, man.
and like I figure it'd be kind of like a fun collaborator gift. Like, hey, I'm gonna send you like a my logo pint glass and coasters. Um,
I'll
and if
use
we
it with
ever
my
if we
drinking with
collab
Bronson.
again, or if we ever play a game, grab a glass and we'll toast.
Sounds fun, man. No, that's so cool, and it's great to see too how you're taking your real job or what you're good in your background and implementing it into Flesh and Blood and utilizing
Mhm.
that, and it really just shows that there's more than like one type of person that can be in the Flesh and Blood, And when I see
Yeah,
a bunch of people say like, oh, like this is the only true way of the game, or this is how you should be having fun playing the game, it's not
go
true.
back to
Like there's
magic.
dude, yeah, I wouldn't say that, but I'm just gonna say there's so many
Sorry.
different mindsets in here, and you're looking at a marketing background and being like, "Yo, like there should be a little pamphlet of a write up of like, oh, this is the hero, this is like how they function and what you're supposed to
Yeah,
do." Because it's true, each hero has a different type of strategy that you have to implement, and different matchups require you to do different strategies. Like against Kano, I try to go as aggro as possible, but against Dorinthia, I try to defend a lot more and attack later game. So there's a lot of different things, and also, do
they also fan out nicely. So
what?
you put 8 of them like side by side, and they fan out like cards, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's legit. Like so you could like flip through them. That's cool.
Yep. So there you go. Put all 8 next to each other, and then also if you're brand new, you can get a little idea on how they play
Uh huh.
and their difficulty level. So it's like, hey, I want I want something challenging. I'm gonna do this, or I like being aggressive.
What's Bravo rated? Should be 1 star.
I didn't do 1 stars, but I'll play a little game with you. Um, once I get Bravo out, once I find him amidst this mess that I've created,
Love to play a game.
I gave him. Where are you? Good at hiding is what I gave him.
That is a good point though, because I heard somebody new to the game was like, "I want to play Data Doll, and that's my only hero." I'm like, ugh, that's
Yeah,
really
about that.
hard.
I'm
Yeah,
working on her too. I'm trying to make her cheap and viable, as opposed to please buy all the plasma purifiers.
yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's what I gave him as a playstyle. I had to.
What's his play style?
Playstyle methodical.
He's methodical. I could see that with a
He's
bunch of his
methodical.
intelligence gathering cards, like his Helm of Isen's Peak, and I mean,
He's the only one
yeah,
that plays both control your turn and dominate mine.
yeah.
Azalea sorta does, but he doesn't. She doesn't do it nearly as like she doesn't do it nearly as much because what Azalea doesn't do is set up. Bravo sets up.
He's
Like
all about
you
the setup.
yeah. So the emerging powers and all the aura stuff like he sets up to mess your turn. Um, and then he just gets into momentum. I'm gonna quickly flicker the camera because autofocus is a thing.
It is a thing. It's tough. It's a tough thing. But yeah, no, I feel you, man. And
There we go.
he's a little too
Um,
much showy of it. Like when he plays his auras, the opponent knows exactly what he's doing. Like, oh, he's setting up for his big turn next turn. It's not
yeah,
much of a mystery what Bravo's doing. But yeah,
yeah, and I
you're
think
you're
that's
right.
why his effect exists. Is like you can know. I
Yeah.
don't mind if you know. You can't deal with it. It has dominate. Have a
Exactly.
ball. I dig that about him. I like that a lot. Anyway, I said we were gonna play a game. So here's the game.
Okay.
It's a guessing game.
Okay.
8 heroes, 4 from Arcane, 4 from Welcome to Wraith. I did a learn to play event. I did my first one a couple weeks ago. We had 5 brand spanking new people come out, which was awesome. All of them loved the crap out of it. Some guy bought 2 boxes like right out of the gate.
Wow.
Okay, good. Mission accomplished. We did well. The store got a pre-release event like 2
big.
days before we did it. So they got noticed for it. But anyway, here's the game. I gave everyone bulk decks, free starter decks, intro decks. You got to pick 2 if you showed up. All right. The guess is, and you can swap also. Like if you play one and you decide that you don't like it, you were more than welcome to swap with me. So the question for you. At the end of the day, which hero had the most decks taken home?
Out of all 8?
Out of all 8.
Well, talking
out of the
about
original
Bravo,
8.
I'd imagine it would be Bravo.
So to a new player, and me talking about Bravo is
new
because
player.
New player, just trying it out for the first time. I can get a game in. I get a feel for what I'm in for. Take everything into consideration. I'll give you a hint that it's not Bravo.
Okay.
Bravo had 0 taken.
Oh no.
I'm so sorry.
No, I mean, yeah. Trying to think. Yeah, because Bravo's in my mind, he's just very simple. You attack with hammer every turn. It's a simple type of thing. But then when you get your big thing, then you just put your crippling crush out. But I mean, Dorinthia is really possible. I guess she'd be my second one, but maybe that's wrong.
That is wrong.
Wow.
Correct answer is Dash.
Dash. Wow, I would have never guessed.
Dash had 3 taken home. Viserai had 2. Dorinthia had 2. Katsu, I think, had 2.
Wow.
No, Kano had 2.
I could see that because Dash does have a really fun way of playing. It's like when you boost and you boost and you boost. Did you create like decks purely of Dash cards and do like a high speed impact, or just a bunch
Again, yeah, I mean,
the
again,
common-
this is accessibility and scalability. So there's generics in there. You can absolutely whiff on Dash a couple times. They're not the best decks, but that's not what they're trying to do. And honestly, I want you to find those on your own. I want you to find those weaknesses and say, oh, to really make this happen, I need to get more Dash cards.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick up some packs of Arcane Rising. Because I told you, pick up packs of Arcane Rising. So I'm really proud of this thing.
Dude, I think it's amazing. I can't believe I haven't seen it and everyone else has seen it so far. And that's perfect for getting people into the game, man. Because I mean, with Monarch, there's gonna be so many new people. I think things are just gonna explode. I mean, our community is so small now, but once people start playing, that's a perfect thing to get them introduced to the game. That's cool.
I mean, especially with what happened yesterday. What happened with the professor getting in with a big middle finger to Wizards of the Coast. Did you see the video?
Yeah. I mean, it was a big middle finger for sure. I mean, I don't blame him. I don't blame. A lot of people think he was very salty. Yeah, people think he was a little salty and stuff, but it was totally justified. It's called it was Strixhaven with the college set, and you're not going to get the professor.
The professor. Like he even showed, like there's literally a card called Professor's Warning. I laughed. I saw in the comments that somebody was joking about Rudy, and it's like, oh yeah, Rudy's excluded from previews for the Financier set that Magic's going to release. I'm like, that's pretty funny.
I think he's been excluded from every set, but
yeah, like I'm pretty sure that wasn't new info. Like I'm like, because I remember Rudy, I forgot if it was in one of his Patreon things or one of his posts or one of his videos. He said he was looking for somebody to help. He was looking for somebody to commission. He was trying to commission music, which his follow-up video, I think had it. I'm guessing had it, but this is like a month ago. So it's really clear that all those drops came down of here's who the community spoilers are. Naturally, Professor's not included. Surely word gets around to that amongst those creators.
Yeah.
And Rudy's like, okay. Because naturally LSS has to know and be able to reach out. Which is probably one of the creators, if not Rudy himself, just going and saying, hey, I've got some spice for you. In that you have an opportunity here to steal one of the biggest people, not steal him away for sure, but get him on a spite kick
Yeah.
that he's about to be on.
Well,
LSS jumped in and said, "Yeah, we're sending his ass a card."
oh, for sure. I mean, even if it doesn't work out, you just give him like a rare or a majestic card, and that wasn't going to be previewed by someone else. You just give him any card and say, hey,
Yeah,
just put the feelers out there. But just honestly, not only is he a big content creator, but he's their biggest content creator for Magic the
yeah,
Gathering, and he's probably one of the most
600,000
loved
subscribers.
person in the community of Magic the Gathering. I mean, I don't know the Magic the Gathering community too much, but it seems like he's very well respected and well received, and I mean, I saw one of his videos. I think it was 2 months ago when he was talking about the whole the Walking Dead fiasco thing, and just
Yeah.
the look on his face. And I mean, he had like a minute intro where he was just like solemn and just staring down, and you could definitely
Oh
see
god,
it
I
in
remember that video.
you could see it in his face that he was just disappointed, and it was saddening to me to hear. And I know he wasn't like he just was sad for the game, and at the end he's like, well, I guess this is what it is now, and I'm gonna go
I
ahead and do it. But
I hope he
yeah,
jumps in because he is seriously gonna be like one of the he'd be a perfect creator.
yeah.
I know his philosophy is very much he's also an accessibility kinda guy. That's his big thing. He just loves the game, loves enjoying the game, loves watching people enjoy the game for what it is.
Hmm.
Um, doesn't go too crazy outside of that. That's flesh and blood.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I take a lot of pride in that I know probably gonna notice once he dabbles in a little bit more if he hasn't, is like everybody has come out and said we are setting a precedent that we are not going to look at Magic people as if they're lesser if they switch over to the game.
Oh no.
Um, like Louis did a post a couple days ago where he was just like, "This is our moment to show just how good of a community that we are," and it's going to be he's basically saying this is going to be one of our biggest tests if we get an influx of Magic people. He didn't say that verbatim, but I mean, I know that's going to be the case. The community is don't be toxic. This is
Oh
the
yeah.
right time to not be toxic. I'm so excited. I hope that they do right with Monarch. I hope they don't stop printing starter decks, so people have a good entry point into the game.
Oh,
Um,
totally agree. I love starter decks. So, and that's what gets people
yeah,
into the game. It's like then they don't have to use their brain at all. They literally buy
yeah,
this one deck online for like $8. And I'll just buy it, and then I can play with my friends. And
mhm,
that type of thing. And I understand how the Welcome to Wraith, those were like more limited because the game wasn't as popular. But now with the
yeah.
game's popularity now, I mean, they should just print a ton of those, and I really hope they
Yeah,
do. But yeah, I don't
I
know.
hope they do those. I hope they do dual decks. Like, I hope we get some just lore sexiness dual decks. Like
Yeah.
Final Fantasy does it, where you get heroes and villains. They just came out a couple days ago with Avalanche versus Shinra. They made an Avalanche deck for FF7. They made a Shinra deck, and they in the same box, so you can just pit. Flesh and Blood has the lore to do that.
Oh, yeah, well,
Um,
now they had the light and the dark. I mean, we'll
yeah,
see how that pans out and if they're gonna create some lore around light and dark characters and classes.
I
I don't
hope
know,
that's the case. I hope
it's
that I can be a
exciting, man.
Shadow Ninja or a Light Rain. I hope that's what it is. I have no actual clue.
Yeah.
Be fun. Like, you can only have light or shadow in the deck.
I think that that could be a thing. I mean, it would be kinda weird to mix shadow and light in one deck. You think that, like, okay, you can only do shadow cards or only do light cards in a deck, but
Yeah, and then, yeah, just I mean, but just like that, you've built a secondary spec
yeah.
for every meta that exists.
Yeah, then you could
You have
be a
ramped the
dark
deck building
Dorinthia or a
opportunity.
light Dorinthia. You could be dark Brute,
Yeah,
light Brute.
and
It's
like, think of the
sky's the limit.
storytelling opportunities with something like that. Like, if I get, like, Azalea if you do what, oh god, what was it? If you do what Doomtown did, I don't know if you ever played Doomtown Reloaded,
Nah.
um, where they wrote their characters and you followed their stories. The second time you saw a character as a card, it's because the story had them evolve into something different.
Mhm.
And you knew what it was. Like they wrote, they wrote stories and it's all part of the game. But you're like, "Oh, I'm going to be this version of Allie after she shows that she's been a part of the gang the whole time." Which was so cool. Um That'd be super neat if, hey, we've got like light azalea, dark azalea, or we've got light ranger cards that are light azalea specialization. And then a couple sets down the road, you've got a dark azalea specialization or shadow azalea specialization card. Because that's just where something happened to her in the story.
Yeah, I talked
That'd be
to
that'd be like lore nuts. That might be going way too far, but
No,
God,
dude, I think that would be
fun to
perfect, and
follow.
yeah, I talked to Kale from Dead Summer Art about that. He makes content around the lore, and he said like in the future he thinks one prediction is they'll have like a Dorinthia where she's like a warrior and like mechanologist, like maybe she loses her arm and she has to get like a mech
That'd be
arm.
cool.
And it's like a new hero with a new ability and stuff like that. And it's based off the lore as like, okay, this is Dorinthia now when she's I don't know 30, but then when she is 40 years old, maybe stuff has happened along the way that made her different, and that'll be really cool, man. I'd be
That'd be
interested to
neat.
see if they do stuff like that, but all I know for sure is that the lore is incredibly underrated for Flesh and Blood, and that in the future, man, it's going to be so much bigger, and I think that's what's going to make people fall in love with it. I mean, have you looked? The
I
lore
haven't.
book, man. The lore book is insane. I'll send it to you
I
if you
haven't.
don't have
Is
it.
it? Yeah, I don't have the lore book at all. I don't know if somebody made a PDF of it. I just have what's on FAB, which I haven't really. It's my
Yeah.
fault.
No, no,
Um,
like, what is it? Someone made a photocopy of the lore book. I have it, hosted on this one thing. I'll send you a link to it, man, but
oh god, I would
it
love
is
that
just
because that
it
was
is
one of the things that
stunning.
frustrated me.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, I totally
because I was
agree.
like,
I
I
don't know
really
why
want to get
it's
into
not on the
this.
site.
Huh?
I don't know why it's not on the website. I would think it's a free PDF download on their website. I think right now they're just not trying to focus on that. I think they're trying to get people focused on the gameplay, especially in Monarch. They're going to try to
Mhm,
get people to play the game and have fun there. I think in the future they're going to more solidify the lore and the story. I mean, I think they're definitely going to get into the lore in Monarch, but I think their main
mhm.
focus is the gameplay. But man, the lore is just it's ridiculously well written, and you could definitely see how the one key element they do is they give you little breadcrumbs, right, of what things are, but they don't like tell you exactly. So it makes you like really think and like okay, wonder like, well, why is this way? And where was Viserai
Oh, that's
before? Yeah, he was the Arc Knight, and
clearly
it's
Dark
really cool.
clearly Dark Souls fans over there in New Zealand.
Oh yeah,
So here, all right. So here's the question. Here's a question for you. Here's
sounds good.
theory. Let's theory crap for a sec. How
Yep.
long before we take the world of Flesh and Blood and expand it to something outside of a card game? Do you think it's going to happen?
Like into PVE content, is that kind of thing, or
No, 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 no. How long before Legend Story says we're doing a tabletop or we're doing a board game or we're doing something that's not a card game? Do you think it's going to happen?
I think
And how would you
knowing
feel about it?
I think knowing Flesh and Blood, it's so successful already, and the studio is extremely small that I do see that happening in the future. I think it would happen in like 3 to 4 years. I think they're mainly going to focus on the card game, but I could definitely see them
Sure.
having some type of board game type of thing where you do something along the lines of PvE content or some other extra thing. But I could definitely
Mhm.
see it in the future, man. I mean, because then it would get into a different genre, right? If people are like, "Oh, I just like board games." So, I mean, with Netrunner, right? I mean, Netrunner isn't really a board game, but basically, you have a system, right, where all the game pieces are in one box, and then nothing else can come in. So, I could
Yeah.
definitely see that, man. I think they're
Well,
focused
actually,
on
so
gameplay now, but in the future, I could
yeah.
definitely see it.
No, I think in a couple years. And to be fair, actually, there is a Netrunner board game.
Really?
Sorry. Let me rephrase that because it's exactly what would happen with Flesh and Blood. It's not a Netrunner game. It's an Android,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
the
Android.
universe of Android board game. And they also have a tabletop game,
Hmm.
which I think I've got. I hope you're right here. I hope this is you. Yeah, buddy. There we go. Shadow the Beanstalk.
Oh, nice.
Boom.
That's legit, man.
Um, yeah, so they came out with this because they still have Android. They just don't have the Netrunner. That's what it was.
Oh,
Just goddamn
nice.
steampunk cybernetic artwork. Love this shit out of it.
Yeah,
Not
it's really cool.
steampunk. What the hell? Post-apocalyptic. Cybernetic.
It's kind of steampunkish. Well, not
Blade
really
Runner. There we go.
steampunk. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not steam at all. It's it's that.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
a lot of people have said too that it's hard to have a TCG without some sort of cartoon or TV show, and that could definitely be something in the future. I mean, there's definitely room
I
for it, especially with the lore, I think. But I think the production value of that would be really tough. They would have to hire some outside source to create something, but it's hard too. It's because they would have a vision, but I don't know how much they would trust some other outside source to go on with their vision. I don't
I hope they don't do that because then you have this problem. You
know.
have the I've got a great show. It was a
Mhm.
card game, and I'm like, for some reason in my KPIs, my key performance indicators as a company, I'm thinking that because we made the show, we're going to see an influx in card game sales.
Yeah,
And you might for a month, and you're going to tell shareholders, you're going to tell any investor, this is an influx that's going to stand the test of time, and these guys are going to go away in like a season, and your LY is fucked. Your last year numbers are just gone because this didn't hold up. So I
yeah.
hope they don't do that. I hope we don't have to deal with any weird drama of bastardizing and making the wrong casting choice. And this isn't what Scar for a Scar looked like on the card. Like, just
Oh yeah,
I
no. Like, did they cast that character correctly? And yeah, I totally feel you there. And if they do that, I think it would be in like 10 plus years once the game is really established, and maybe after
yeah.
things have like totally passed over. But I agree with you, man. Like, yeah, and I don't think it needs to happen, especially because they have a different target market with a lot of these games. They have a target market of 10 to 12 to 13-year olds, that range. But with Flesh and
Mhm.
Blood, it says it on the box, 16 plus. Like, this is an adult ass game. Like, we're not catering to kids in this moment. So, I think that's
Yeah.
really helped the game too, man. Because when it's me and you who are looking at this game and we're like, hey, I'm an adult ass person. I like seeing this kind of stuff on these cards. It makes us buy, and it's really targeting the people who have money. Like, I
Yeah.
couldn't buy nearly as much stuff now as I could when I was like 12. There's no
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way I could have purchased as much, and I think that, going into, the topic of the secondary market, I think that's why you see the numbers the way they are, because the people buying into this game, it's a lot of adults, and adults with, big checkbooks, big wallets, who have jobs, they can afford the higher value stuff.
The thing that I like about the secondary market for Flesh and Blood, though, is that those people are also fans of the game more often than not.
Mhm.
They have a genuine excitement.
Yes.
Whereas if you're looking at like your Magic and you're looking at those others where there's just, even Pokemon collectors, they don't really play the game
No
too much.
passion.
Yeah, a couple do, but it's not a passion for them. And I think that's what's going to make Flesh and Blood succeed and the secondary market kind of be safe. It's the one reason I don't think it's a bubble
Yeah.
is because the investors don't put themselves on a secondary tier from the players. This protects the game. If these guys shut them out, they're not going to play anymore. If they're not playing anymore, the game dies. If
Yep.
the game dies, then you're just passing money around each other. And you have no influx of new sets, no new investments, no new whales, no new money coming in
Yeah.
um, to the game. So like being not a dick is protecting the long term investment for this game. And I think that's also something that Flesh and Blood has very unique, very unique to them. Um,
You should do a beginner's guide to secondary market. Rule number 1, don't be a dick.
don't be a dick. Dude, don't tempt me because
And
I'm
then
trying.
just
One
put
of
a
the main
picture
things.
of a blurred out phallus. Like, no.
No, all right. So every one of my videos has some sort of pop culture character, sort of based on something that happened in the video. So I'll have to find.
I think that
Um,
would be good for you, honestly. Like, I think because there's a
oh,
lot of things about the secondary market of Flesh and Blood that people could realize. Like, hey, like, first edition is good. Cold foils equal money. Like,
yeah,
this is the
I would
print
tackle the
runs.
marketing challenge because
Yeah.
I have a decade in marketing. I've worked for Salesforce. I've worked for eBay. I've worked for I've
Oh
worked.
wow.
I understand Big Brother. That's what I got. I've worked for pretty big companies. So I know a lot around just the marketing philosophies when you get into I have way too much money to burn targeting somebody who has no money.
Mhm.
And that's what I need to do. So I've been liking doing that. Like I liked the licensing video, even though like nobody wants to talk about it. That's fine. Whatever, that's fine. But I want to bring that in. I want to bring in, all right, what is the market philosophy with the secondary market? What are the flags as Legend Story Studios that they would recognize that say, okay, this is actually starting to detract from the game. This is actually starting to become a problem. And it's kind of why I think that we haven't seen a re-release of Welcome to Wraith Starters,
Mm.
which they should have done. If I'm trying to grow the game long
Oh, I
term, where
agree.
I'm at, Welcome to Race Starters needed to be the next priority. Like if I were to do it, get Monarch out the door, which they've done, Crucible Unlimited, so you don't completely alienate your new audience that they have no access to.
Mhm.
Welcome to Race Starters, or just all this. Just get your starter situation figured out. You're gonna re-release Monarch, I know that, but at least don't make it look like I liked the Welcome to Wraith character. I've got to spend how much for a starter deck? Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Get the game accessibility situation figured out, um, and then go to Kingdoms, um,
Well, does it
and
make
let
you
your game.
wonder, like, are they gonna add like another type of expansion, like revised with Magic the Gathering, where you just have a ton of stuff out there and not just unlimited? Because up until this point, I definitely see how they've been reserved in the fact where they don't want to overprint their stuff. Because I can definitely
Yeah.
see it as a trading card games company. If you overprint your stuff and like your public, like if they catch wind of that, it can go downhill really fast. So I wonder if they're trying to do that, because I agree with you, man. There should be starter decks for Welcome to Wrath and Arcane Rising Unlimited. Like it's definitely possible. They're just common cards, and it gets people into the game. So
Yeah, it's a $10 I can just grab to. I've heard about it. I
mhm.
don't know much. I don't know what I'm doing, and then I go. If Monarch, don't know why that was hard. If
Yeah.
Monarch is truly the third part of kind of the core what the game was, come back and do the Arcane Rising sets.
Mm.
Get your 3 core sets that are really defining your game in all of its glory together and make all of it accessible. You don't have to do another one after that as long as you keep reprinting them. Because here's what I'm seeing is you've got Welcome to Wraith and Arcane Rising. This is your character building. This is what
Hmm.
you've got that's character building. Monarch seems to be threat building for the world, like the world of Flesh and Blood.
Hmm.
So Welcome to Wraith was, hey, get you basic, Arcane Rising. All right, there's another element of the characters that exist. That's your character building. Monarch is this angels and demons. Like you've seen a few things that like there's some sort of threat happening. So now we've got a threat building thing happening. And then what's next? Kingdoms. What's Kingdoms going to be? World building. It is the rest of it.
Yeah.
It's expanding from World of Warcraft, where all you're dealing with was I don't even fucking remember
Boards,
the word.
boards, and
Yeah, like
goblins.
whoever the big bad, what's his name? Sir Sylva, I don't remember what his name is. Whatever. You've got a big bad threat coming in, but then what's the rest of it doing? Just expanding the world.
Yeah. Yeah, and
You don't
you
need to
can
do much more
definitely
than that.
see that progression too. And yeah, to what is it? Recap on your thing. Yeah, I think yeah, Welcome to Wrath was, welcome to the world. And then Arcane Rising was darkness is coming up through the ground and darkness is
Yeah.
reviving and rising up. Crucible
Mhm.
War was there's about to be a war and Monarch is the
Yeah.
war. So
Yeah.
it's going to
And then
be
Kingdoms,
crazy. Hmm?
I can only imagine that if, it's all of this together and then I mean we know what the kingdoms when we arguably know what the kingdoms are because we see them in lore, but there's
Hmm.
going to be some aftermath. There's going
Oh
to be
yeah.
some battle for supremacy throughout any of this. There's going to be some that are more aggressive than others and there you go. And every set after can just build the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Um but make it accessible, make it fun and don't do anything stupid. And I think that in the terms of secondary market, if Legend Story has this natural progression from a storytelling standpoint that they've got this out. They have to know that going and trying to overproduce and trying to expand so much to the point that things like the secondary market don't mean anything, that or worse, or you have the magic 2020 problem where you literally don't have enough money to buy everything that they have.
Hmm.
You're going to alienate. You're going to alienate from a very fun story and a very cool story, and that's going to get people out of the game. I don't think secondary market wants that either. I think they know better. I think this is a smarter group of people. Flesh and Blood is the culmination of people who are sick and tired of seeing other companies do basic things wrong
Yep.
and
It's
came
so
together and
true.
said, let's try this.
We
And
want smart people.
even the fans and the investors have flocked and said, I hate how in 2 months I get 4 new Wizards products. And I don't know what's going to have value and what's not. I hate that the next thing is a gamble for me when it's supposed to be a collectible for me.
Yep, and it
I don't
rotates.
think
It
what people's gonna
rotates out, so your cards can never
it,
be used again after what, 3 years? And where Flesh and Blood is, you buy your cards and you can use them for the rest of, the lifetime of this game, which is beautiful, man.
yeah. Um, I think on the other note, we were talking cold foils and we are talking just general amount of things. I think chase always needs to be a thing also.
Yep.
Um, this is my theory as to why Final Fantasy can't get off the ground. And by off the ground, I mean they're in like um
Oh
but
yeah.
they're still like second, they're still clawing their way up the charts. Um because they just recently brought in chase. They just recently brought in like full art cards and cards that are going to be worth $100 the second that you open it.
Oh, they
Um
just brought that in, but before
they
like you could get a.
just
Oh wow.
yeah.
Well,
Um
it's a smart move, and no, I totally agree. And you
mm,
know, I've heard from a competitor, right? He competed for a long time. I played with him in a tournament, and he's like, "I love the collectability aspect." I was like, "Oh, why?" He's like, "Hey, when I compete in tournaments, I want something of value. I want to be." And he said he's
mm,
played in other TCGs before where the secondary market was abysmal, right? And nobody competed because nobody really cared, to get like the top prize because it
mm.
wasn't as valuable. But now in Flesh and Blood, it's absolutely ridiculous. I think. I mean,
Oh god, the golds.
you can get the gold foil, but honestly, even if you compete in the skirmish events and get a cold foil hero card, I think the lowest price hero card for cold foil is like $500. Can you imagine like
Jesus.
getting like a $500 card for competing in like a couple skirmish events? It's nuts, and I think that's what's really driving a lot of people to play the game more, and especially with the skirmish events, because if you can get that or a crazy playmat, like it's just it feels good as a competitor that you're rewarded for competing. So,
Yeah, and I kinda hope it stays that way with Unlimited, like
mm,
Command& and Conquer, Enlightened Strike. I hope they stay over $100. I
yeah.
really do. I really hope that there are cards that can exist that will pay for your box out of the gate. I know the legendaries, of course, are. I think that was a super smart move also. Um, but yeah, I think that Chase is healthy and Chase is important. 5th pack I ever opened, I got a Cold Foil Scaletta.
Wow,
5th pack is a
that's
game I
awesome.
ever opened. 3rd pack I ever opened, I got a Krunic.
Wow.
Um, I'm not an investor worth a shit. It was a real good 6 packs. Um, but there's a pride that I have to having with this that's gonna keep me interested in the game, even if I suck, and I'm not gonna be good at this game. I'm not somebody whose channel you're gonna
Same.
watch to learn how to do shit unless it's goofy and not viable and not consistent. I'm gonna my pride and joy is gonna be hitting Azalea or Data Doll once in a tournament of 7, going 1 and 6, and it's that one I'm gonna focus on and
No, I
just be
feel you, man.
happy
I'm just
about.
gonna have like I've had so much fun just chilling out with Bravo, and I play him because he I don't have to think as much. I just keep one card in hand, and I like attack you with my hammer every turn, and then
Yeah,
do one big thing. But other than that, it's like it's just a lot of
yeah,
fun playing the games. But I'm with you. I'm not
yeah.
as much of a competitor, but that's fine. It's
Yeah,
all
but
good.
even with that, even having those 2 things, and I think that's what makes this one fun, is it's still kinda new. They're like, "I know something that the rich people want from me. I've got it right here, and I feel real good about that."
that
And that's
that's
enough.
That's a good mindset, dude. Like being a competitor, you can get things that the rich people want.
Yep. That's all I got. Like, I see people, it's like, "Oh, let's open a $6,000 book." Whatever, just that's fine. Like, I see on the marketplace channels, "Oh, it's a heart, $35,000. Great price, PM." Like, "What? That's my car."
I know it's honestly ridiculous, but it's good. It
Um,
pays for you to do stuff. So if you entered like 10 skirmish events or
mhm,
15, you're probably gonna get one of those things, and then you could
mhm,
take that, sell it on eBay, and then fund the rest of your fab purchases. So the hobby pays
yeah,
for itself. It's more of it pays for itself instead of just an
yeah.
ongoing expense. It's just beautiful, and Yeah, it's a
Not
duality
crazy.
between those two things, having collectability and playability, but they do it
Mhm,
really well. And like you were saying in the beginning, like those commons have really good purpose, and who knows what it'll
mhm.
be in a Monarch. It's gonna be
Yeah,
it's
I
gonna be
do
crazy.
like that. I mean, definitely when you get into rares, majestics, and what, I don't think you can have anything purely pauper.
Mm.
And that's fine. That's healthy for the game, or else nobody's ever gonna buy packs.
Well,
They'll
I think
just
you could
buy
have a
bulk.
pauper format. I think that's gonna happen sooner or
I
later.
think a pauper format's great. I think in normal competition, though, like if I were to bring pauper to a skirmish, I'm gonna get my ass handed to me.
Mm.
If it's a pure pauper event, hell yeah, no problem.
But
Um,
I could see Iris starter deck events or base deck. You know those decks you were talking about, hero decks. Those are pauper.
yeah,
They only have 6
yeah,
rares in them. That's like nothing. You know.
yeah. I mean, that'd be kind of fun to do. Honestly, I hope that they never do the Ira deck thing. I think they did. I think that was a good intro.
Hmm.
Good, but it doesn't scale anymore. You can't do that anymore.
What do you mean, like
Um,
the 30 card deck thing?
the ones that so remember when they first got started, they sent out welcome kits, and those kits had like 24 Ira decks
Hmm.
associated with it. Great first year thing. Get it out the door, get it in the hands of people.
Hmm.
Give him something free to distribute. I hope they never do it again. Um, again, if I've got 10 times as many LGSs looking to get in on this, that's not a scalable solution from a marketing perspective. If I can only do that for so long, those decks become collectible. If I'm an LGS noticing those decks are becoming collectible, I'm more reluctant to do those events, knowing that I might have people who are showing up simply to get the deck, leave, never open the thing, and I've pulled it away from people who are going to give me money by buying packs from the game that they played.
Yeah.
Um, I'm hoping it doesn't happen.
Well, I hope
I
I
really
know they're
do.
doing the 2020 Ira decks. But to your point, I hope that the print run is ratcheted way up because in the
Mhm.
past they did the print run so small because nobody was really playing this game.
Yeah,
No,
they didn't know.
yeah. Well, no, I don't think it didn't have the market share at all. So I mean, when you have the market share now, you really need to. I think there's 45,000 Ira decks. I mean, it has to be at
Oh,
least
wow.
200,000 or more, like to make it to your point to where a store has this Ira deck event, but it's like they people just take the pack and then they go home because they can sell it on eBay and flip it for like $50. But
Yeah, exactly. So that's like my active fear.
yeah,
Um, and I think that I kind of see it, especially given how they crack down on armory. And like, hey, if you're an LGS that sells your armoring kit, we are banning you from getting product. Period. Which I've
it's
only
good.
seen happen once from that guy who was just gloating about him hoarding Monarch cases, which I don't even know if it was true. Was it like I don't remember what
I
his
didn't
name
see
was.
that story really. Someone's like, "Hey guys, I know you want
It was
Monarch,
somebody
but I'm
perusing
keeping it."
Facebook.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
jeez.
all our it was one of the Facebook groups. This guy, I don't remember his name. Probably wouldn't even say it if I did know it.
Yeah.
Um, just let's not start that. Um, but he's just like, "Oh, I got 40 cases of Monarch. I'm not gonna open a single one in my store.
Jeez.
I'm just gonna let him go to $1,000 a box." And Flesh and Blood sends him the ban hammer, and he's like, it's like a point of pride with him. He's just like, "I'm so terrible that I got banned by LSS."
Well, like,
Your you
what do you
suck letter is
want?
not gonna sell on eBay for $50,000.
Yeah, it's so stupid. I mean, honestly, he could just do that normally and only sell like 10 boxes or maybe
Mhm.
like 10 cases and then keep the rest and then say he was out without flaunting it. But I mean, what does he expect? Like LSS
Yeah,
to just like turn a blind eye when this is on the World Wide Web? I mean, that kind
yeah,
of
right?
stuff is yeah. And it's
You
good
wanna
that
do that, crack
LSS
singles.
yeah.
Crack 20 boxes, hoard half your cold foils, sell the other half, go.
Yeah. I mean, I don't personally. I don't blame anyone for not opening their first edition box. I don't think, but as a store, that's terrible because they're basically flaunting that.
Store.
But for
Yeah.
people, man, I don't think I'm gonna open too many of mine, man, because I don't know about you. I opened Crucible War, and some boxes were complete duds. You'd get like one
Mm.
cold foil common, and then the rest is just a bunch of just some majestics, but no big hits. And it sucks because
Mm.
those boxes are like what $1,000 now a pop, and
Nowadays, I know.
it's insane. And you could see the Monarch boxes quickly following that in 2 to 3 months, maybe even less. So it's like it's
Mm.
tough. And personally, like even though I don't want to open a lot of them, I would like to take them and trade them for other things that I would like as a collector, and I think that's a smart move that people need to consider. Because yeah,
That's not a bad idea.
some
That's a really
boxes
good idea.
yeah, some boxes are just real trash, and I hate to say that, but I mean, have you looked at some of the Welcome to Wrath ones especially are sometimes are really cringeworthy, and, Saint,
I think
from the Fable Hunters, I know you talked about him
mhm.
earlier, great guy, I love his
Oh,
channel,
yeah.
but some of the boxes that he's opened too, he was like, "Oh, geez, like, this didn't have any, spice into it," and it's just tough when you realize that that box is like $3,000, you know?
I know, right? I wouldn't talk God, it'd be I think 2 boxes I think my penultimate box of Welcome to Wraith, my money card
Mhm.
was the one Majestic in the box, and it was an Ancestral Empowerment. My
Oh,
money card was $14.
that's
I was
tough.
like, "And I'm done. I'm
Yeah,
not opening packs anymore."
it's boxes like that, but then other things, like, you bought 6 random packs that got 2 crazy cold foils, right? That's insane.
I got I mean, crew neck is not cold foil, but I got the crew neck. I got
Mhm.
Blood Sheath Scaletta. The 4th pack in between those others was Rainbow, Spoils of War,
Oh my gosh.
which I flipped for a box. I'm still happy that I did because
Yep.
I couldn't get my hands on Welcome, so that was my first box was the Spoils of War pack or card. I was like, "I don't have any of this. Will somebody trade me this card for a box?"
Mhm.
Um, and then from that, I got Tectonic Plating.
There you go.
So I'm hoping that rises so I can flip that. And I started before I started decks and drafts, trying to like track a card. I was like, all right, we've got the Spoils of War. I've turned this into a box. I got a Tectonic Plating. Can I turn that into a box? Like, can we just roll the dice over and over? But Tectonic's Plating's $80, so no.
I think it's going for 100 now, but even after you eBay fees and stuff, I guess you get 90, but that's a good point. There and I think Jesse from the Fab Cracks channel, I don't know if you've heard of him, but
I
he said
haven't.
if he had $100, he'd do that right now. Like buy a
I
box,
saw that.
open it, and if you get one of those crazy pulls, just sell it and buy another box or buy another 2 boxes. You're right, because if you do that
Yeah, I am
multiple
familiar with
times,
him because I saw that video of what would I do with.
oh, nice. The yeah, what would you do with $100?
Yeah, with Flesh and Blood. I'm pretty sure I saw that video. I was like, that's a cool idea. I like that.
You should do it too, man. There's a lot of people who did it. I know Ben Trading Card, he started it. And then I think Jordan talked about it and then he
Mhm.
talked about it, I talked about it.
I love Ben. Ben's so wholesome.
He
He's
is.
so wonderfully wholesome. I just want to like visit and just be like, let's just like go get food and play a game in a Wendy's somewhere or something, and we're just gonna have the time.
Yeah, he's usually on the road it seems too. And is he from Canada? I know you're from Can.
I
No, you're not.
think
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not sure where he's from. Honestly, I
Yeah,
think
he's
so.
a
I
cool
remember a
guy.
couple videos where he's
He's
just
always
outside.
positive and he's happy about his patrons and he's just yeah, good stuff from him.
There's so many of that. I can't think of like a single FAB creator who I'm just like, I don't know if I want to watch you because you're kind of not a good thing for this community. I don't think there's a single one I can name.
I don't
I
think
haven't
there
looked
is.
around a lot. I kind of don't want to, but
No, I've
I
looked
don't want to be
around a
surprised.
lot, man. Yeah, Joey, there's everyone's really nice, honestly. I'm not just saying that too. I'm
Awesome.
always constantly surprised with that too. I'm like, when am I gonna meet the
Mhm.
bad apple that I don't jive with? But I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone's just a super
Yeah,
nice guy.
can you'll shut him down pretty hard.
Oh
So,
yeah. I mean, I know.
like, I think that was one of the cool. Like, did you see Rudy's follow up to the professor?
Yeah, dude, that was
Like,
so good.
it was wonderful. It was like we don't disagree on that. We magic, but in Flesh and Blood, you are so welcome.
Yep.
You are welcome in. There's no bad blood. There's just enjoy. Have a blast. I'm like, dude, Liddy, well
Yeah.
done.
Very, very classy. And the way he said it, he's like, I consider him a long-term friend. We don't
Mhm,
jive on a lot of topics. I think things should be collectible. He thinks it should be playable. But overall,
mhm.
really love the guy. And yeah, it
Yeah,
was so good. And it is true. This
I don't.
community is very welcoming to new players. It's like, hey, welcome to the party, man. And I think that a lot of times we talk about Magic the Gathering because it's the biggest trading card game for the last,
Mhm.
25, 30 years. But none of us I think are really like just anti magic. We're just like, hey, well, we played it for a while. Now we like this better. But that's still a good
Yeah,
thing too. And I think you can definitely play both.
yeah.
It's all
I think
good.
we all
It's not like one versus
I
the
think a
other.
lot of the people. Yeah. I know the ones who like a lot of the people who probably used to play Magic. There's a stigma with the community.
Yeah.
There's no denying that there's a stigma with the community. I still enjoy the game. I've still popped on MTG Arena and got my butt handed to me trying to do something janky with artifacts because they're just not good. Um, but I do remember, like, God, I even remember playing Netrunner, and like the Magic guys would be like, "You're taking up what could be a table we might need.
Oh, that's mean.
Like, please go." Like, are you kidding? Um, and I know that's not everyone.
Yeah.
But like, there's so much elitism that can exist. There was a documentary that came out that premiered in Denver, which was cool. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember the name of it because they wanted to name it Planeswalkers, but they couldn't legally name it. But it was basically a following different Magic the Gathering players who
Mhm.
took the game in different ways. Be you super collector, be you brand new, be you investor, be you hyper competitive. And
Mhm.
they just follow them to a Grand Prix
That sounds cool.
as they go through the journey. It was really interesting, but it also showed a heck of a lot of the problems. Like I remember one of the scenes that was the most eye opening was they were at a card game shop that's actually right up the street from my house.
Really?
That they
And
filmed this at.
they filmed it for the documentary? That's crazy.
Yeah, they filmed it as a documentary. I'll try to find the name. I'll send it over. I mean, it was real small, really independent. Sorry, fixed the camera.
All
Real
good, man.
small, real independent thing. So I mean, you see it anywhere. Um, but there's a scene where they had like a camera. They were shooting an event, like an FNM, Friday Night Magic,
Mhm.
and one of the guys pulls the cameraman aside and says, "You're gonna have to do this from out here, but you want to focus in on this guy on the other end of the store because right now, as he is in a trade at the moment where he is scamming this kid,
Oh my
and
gosh.
it's like this 12-year-old,
How do you
and
Oh, jeez. How do you
we just
scam a
like
12-year-old?
I mean, it's just if the 12-year-old doesn't know the value of the card,
Oh.
um, he just wants to play. He just, that was like me as a kid. I just want to play. I don't care if it's Dark Magician of Chaos. I'm not using Dark Magician of Chaos. I want Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yeah.
Stupid. Don't do that. But they're like, focus in, but naturally you can't put a camera on him, because it's gonna be a problem.
Mhm.
And there's two major problems with that right out of the gate. One, that's already disgusting. And two, you mean to tell me you have an entire group of people playing Friday Night Magic knowing this is happening and nobody is stopping them?
That's
Nobody's
pretty bad.
jumping in? It was unreal. It was mind blowing. And again, I don't want to completely trash the Magic community. I have some amazing people who are, but this
Yeah.
exists and it's not aggressively just pounced on. Um, that sucks. I hope we never get there. I hope that never happens to Flesh and Blood. I've never seen it really happen to any other game, to be perfectly honest. Pokemon
Yeah.
maybe because you do have that age discrepancy just naturally, but like, it was disgusting. I will find the name of that documentary.
Yeah, I'll watch that. That
Um,
sounds interesting. Like just how different people, interact, and I think that's the root of toxicity really in games is when people have different opinions of how people should interact with the game. And I know there's a bunch of different communities out there with the investors, and, collectors,
mhm,
players, all these different people, store owners and stuff, and when things don't jive in between them, that's when I think there's some stuff, but
mhm,
like I said in the before here, like everyone could be in this game for a different reason, but I think that's all the different reasons what makes us great at the end of the day because investors put a ton of money into the game, making the cards
mhm.
valuable, and the players show us what cards are to be valued, and it just everyone
Right.
brings in another nugget. But yeah, man, I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't get to that point because all along, man, I've just seen this community being amazing, and especially with content creation, like us right now. Like we're just talking like
Yeah,
normal people. This
yeah.
is the first time I've ever talked to you in my life, and it's just cool how we're all like one
It's the
big
second,
thing.
buddy. You kicked my ass.
Huh?
It's the second time you and I have talked.
Oh yeah,
You
I
kicked
forgot.
Yeah,
What?
you kicked my butt. Thanks.
It
I'm
was
glad you
close. I
forgot.
just
I
got
didn't.
very lucky with Bravo that game, man. But the second time we've talked, okay. Normally it's the first,
No, it's fair enough. I
but
get it. I
yeah,
get it.
no, it's just a great time to be in it because people want this game to go to the moon. But
Mhm.
that the problem is once we get to the moon, what's gonna happen to the community? So, uh,
Yeah, and that's we'll have to see.
yeah,
I think that the community is doing a good job of keeping itself in check.
definitely.
I hope that stays.
And I think
I
Legend
hope
Story
that you
Studios, it's gonna be a tone at the top because they're great to the people of the game. I think that's really gonna follow through with all aspects of the game going forward. But yeah, I mean the community's gonna evolve over time, so it'll
if
be
Legend Story
interesting to
Studios
see.
ramps up the community game the right way, I think they solve the big problem. I
You
think they
think?
solved the popularity contest where it doesn't matter if you're good or if you're garbage. I have enough views. If they come out and say we're doing kind of a community outreach of just like, hey, we saw your stuff, because that's they do that now. Like Jordan, Flesh and Bones gets a spoiler.
Yeah.
He's part of spoiler
Dude,
season.
I'm so happy for that
Um,
guy. He's so
oh
wholesome, so awesome. I'm so happy he got that.
yeah, but if they do more of that, if they do some sort proper recognition for the ones who aren't just good or popular, but the ones who are truly doing great things, being an advocate for the game. I think they would crack the code of keeping the community in the place that Legend Story Studios knows and feels to be healthy.
Yep.
And I don't think that they're dicks where they're going to define what good and healthy are more than they are going to define what bad and toxic are.
Yeah.
um, and just steer clear of that. I think it is called Planeswalkers. I did a quick search. I
Oh,
will find it. I will send it to you.
you send it to me after I wanna look that up because sometimes those documentaries are cool. It'd be cool to do a Fab documentary. I wonder if anyone's
It'd
gonna
be
do
kind of
that.
neat. I got a couple years in film and video. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's go follow Louis. We'll go to New Zealand and we'll, we'll follow people to the first world championships
Oh, I can't
because
wait for those, dude. It's gonna be
that'd
so
be.
awesome. Just having all the people that I talked to, throughout the last 6 months just in one
Mhm.
place. Oh,
Have you ever done one of those? Have you
no,
ever
I've
gone
never
to?
done it. I've
Oh,
never
I
even
did it for
competed.
Netrunner.
Yeah?
I did for Netrunner. They did Worlds because it's in Minnesota, where Fantasy Flight is.
Mhm.
That you want to fall in love with just card games in general, go to a national. Go out of state for an event where you know other people are going out of state for. You're never going to leave it.
I can't wait. I'm gonna dress up as Bravo or do something crazy. It'd be oh, man. 'Cause then
No.
afterwards, you go to the bar with these people, and what's
Yeah.
great too, man, is all of us have already talked a lot through the internet. So I feel like when
Mhm.
we meet people in person, it's gonna drive so well versus, if we didn't have the internet, there's no way we could, like, know each other ahead of time, you know? Like,
Yeah. Like, "Oh, I
bonds
know
already
your
formed.
voice
Yeah,
from the phone."
exactly.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I'm excited for things like uh, that's what it is. Mile High Magic.
Mile
That's the
High
name of the
Magic.
documentary. They couldn't legally do. Is it on YouTube? Are you kidding?
Oh, YouTube has everything nowadays, man. I'm gonna look that up.
Oh, I have to. So yeah, Hey World, if you want to watch something real interesting, I'm gonna find it. Mile High Magic. I met the filmmakers down at C down in Denver, C Film Center. But yeah, they legally couldn't call it Planeswalkers because they didn't get approved.
Gotcha.
Um, but yeah, documentary's not affiliated or endorsed by Wizards, clearly. Um,
Yeah, honestly,
obvious.
I hope if they do a documentary for Fab, I'd love to be a part of it. Like whoever puts that thing together eventually, because I like it's gonna happen eventually. Some guy is gonna have an idea in their mind to make a documentary about how this game became a rocket ship, in a year's time. But that'd be cool.
I like how they did it, where they did take 4 very different people. Like in this case, you can take like the Saint Hungs, you can take the Rudies, you can take the investors, and then you take like the you, me, Jordan, who are just like shooting the shit and enjoying it. You take the Louis, who is very big community advocate. You take
Hmm.
the ones who are winning skirmishes back and forth. You bring them all together. You track them separately, then you bring them all together because that's the point of a documentary. Is there's got to be a story, and that story is going to be the road to world, and like
Yeah.
that's your climax. Is you bring them all together for like the first time at Worlds, like they meet each other in person for the first time, and you just capture it. That'd be so freaking.
Oh yeah. If no one else does it, man, yeah, I've got to start recording at Worlds. Like, it'd be fun. Because
There
then,
we go.
like, it's the first world tournament for Flesh and Blood. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
Because I mean, how can this game, like, just thinking on paper, I don't think that there's any way that they could fail unless some person buys them out because they're a very small studio and they've had this insane amount of hype and demand for their products in the short run. Like the amount of money that they're going to make in the next 2 to 3 years is just going to be insane. Like they're going to be able to
Yeah.
fund like the next 20 years of operations just off of like the first 2 years alone. I mean,
Yeah.
it's nuts.
It's gonna be real interesting what happens in 2022. I think 2022 is gonna be the year that if Legend Story Studios is gonna fail, it's gonna be in 2022.
Why do you think that?
Um, the argument here,
Hmm.
my where I'm gonna get to with this, um, is Steamforged. Steamforged Games out of the UK.
Hmm.
Steamforged Games puts out a Kickstarter for Dark Souls. Get $5 million. They asked for 50,000.
Wow.
They get $5 million out of it. And the thing right out of the gate that happens is they have a scalability problem. They cannot scale. They have to hire a whole bunch of people to develop and assemble and get things going because they were not expecting that kind of volume. It's
Mm.
like Groupon. You have a great Groupon, you have too many customers in the door. You didn't scale properly. It's why Groupon sucks. Never use it. It screws over small businesses. If that's going to happen, if Legend Story Studios is not ready for the scale of what could happen if Monarch does what we think it's going to do and actually starts stealing the Magic community away, especially given that Wizards is making every wrong room imaginable. If you get into supply problems, if you get into putting things out and you have quality issues, if you really screw over what happens when you need to make 10 times what you made last year, you're gonna have a problem. That problem's gonna last you for a while, and this early in the game, that problem might screw your audience. We'll
Yeah.
see.
You have a really good point, though. Like the point you're making is really good because when you're small and you have to scale up large, you're right. That is a pivotal moment because you don't know how many employees to hire for different functions and it's tough
Mhm.
to get your product out to way more people than expected. And I mean, what if, Monarch all the products sell out for months? It's gonna be
Yeah.
tough.
What happens that when you have to go to new print to
Yeah.
handle a different type of scale? What happens there? What happens to your QC, your quality control?
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, they have Carta Monday,
all of that.
which is huge. I
They
mean,
what?
the printing company that they have, Carta Monday, is like the best in the industry. Magic the Gathering uses
Okay.
them, but yeah, I mean
Okay,
to
then
your
they're
point,
covered there. I
yeah,
mean,
they're
that's not
covered
an
there.
issue.
But to your point, I mean, what if other like Wizards of the Coast or Pokemon, what if they hog up Carta Monday's printers and they're not able to print as many out? I mean, there
Mhm.
are problems there. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
I think what if they also want to ramp up distribution worldwide and they do multiple printers in different parts of the country,
Hmm.
so that way North America doesn't have to wait for the boat, um, which could happen. Um, and then yeah, of course goes the question from a little while ago: what happens when they start making other games?
Yeah.
Um, Flesh and Blood is one of those that you can make a lot of money having three different revenue streams. With right now, there's just one, the
Hmm.
cards. Um, license out to an author, write some books. I'd read those. I don't read. I'd read those. It'd be kind of
Well,
fun.
yeah, and honestly, my predictions overall, man, I think in the short term, in the next couple months, I think we're going to see a lot of negativity. I think that's going to be out there, but I think it's a good thing. I mean, if you listen to Rudy from Alpha Investments, it's
Oh, he
interesting.
loves it.
Yeah, he loves it. And he says, I and he even said the way that this game is not going to succeed is if the negativity stops. And then he said, I'm concerned. And it's funny how we live in a
I
world with that.
agree.
And I agree too, man. It's like if there's negativity that stops, then it's less marketing, and you're in the marketing field. Any information is any social media or whatever. That's good marketing, no matter positive or negative. And when a Magic the Gathering player, right, disses Flesh and Blood on their social media, that's a great thing because they say that to like thousands of people, and most of them could be potential Flesh and Blood players. Whatever gets you
Yeah,
that emotional over something, maybe people check
people are
it
gonna
out.
ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, what's everyone complaining about? I'm gonna look at this thing and I'm gonna see just how bad it is. right?
Yep.
I'm gonna see for myself how garbage of a game this is. Shit, it's real good.
Yeah. They don't know what
Crap.
they're talking about. Crap. Well, now I
Son
just
of
bought all
a
the
bitch.
cards. Now I'm yeah.
Um, that was one of the things that George from Compete Sports, he was telling me a story because we had a phone call. I've got a fun video coming up. I'm very
Oh, with
excited about.
George?
Not just George.
Oh.
I asked, so keeping in my marketing trope, I'll get back to my George story in a second. Keeping with my marketing trope, one of the things I wanted to figure out is the struggle that I had right now is how do I get an LGS on board with
Mhm.
this game? So I interviewed a bunch of different ones. I did a call out and said, would any LGSs be willing to talk to me about what are your flags and what are your key indicators that you want to support a game? What will move the needle to get you to support to the point of events, not just buying it, not just getting it in the store. Because somebody coming and saying, if you purchase this game, I'll buy it. That's not
Mhm.
getting a card game to support the game. That's making a quick buck. You're not going to grow the game by that
Yeah.
um, at all. So I asked a bunch of different places, what is going to move the needle for you? What are your biggest struggles and your hesitations? What are your flags? A lot of them are like, if depending on how you market to me, if you say this is the magic killer, I'm not touching your game. If you say this, if you anything next best thing, go away,
Yeah.
shove off.
'Cause they've
Um,
been burned in the
ask things like,
past, right? Like, they've probably been really
yeah,
burned in the past from people who say, "Hey, I got some snake oil," and,
yes, Force of Will. Force of
yeah,
Will, 2005 made a dramatic change to what they did that themselves over, and they just can't
yeah.
get rid of product. They're coming back.
And that's like
Is there a
5,000,
number of random?
$10,000 loss, right? Like, some stores went big on
Yeah,
certain products, and then they got screwed, and then that's like that I
yeah,
mean, that puts some stores out of business too with going into different
yeah,
ventures and it screwing them over, and I think you have a good point too with the they have to hold events, but dude, I think there's a huge opportunity for there to be some, like, ambassador for the store for a game. Like, I know, AJ from Adventure Co. Gaming, right? He helps out a local game store near me called The Collective, and literally he organizes the events. He
yep,
does all these things, and the store doesn't have to do as much work or
yep,
legwork. He does it because he loves the game and he
yep.
loves playing at the store. So it's like I think
Yeah,
if
they have
they
basic
have
product.
that kind of stuff, yeah. Because to
And that
your
was actually one of the big
yeah,
things that people said that I think of this. Interviewed like 7 or 8 different game stores.
really,
I don't remember. I've got to compile it all. Um,
that's a lot of
I
stores,
think
dude.
about, huh?
That's a lot of stores. You interviewed them all.
I just had a call on Facebook and I just got flooded. Like, let's shoot me questions.
Nice.
It's like, all right, well, I should write them, shouldn't I? And then I got responses, but one of the biggest ones, especially, I asked very directly, what can players do to get you in? What can a player do when they walk into your store? What can they do and what can they show you that would get them interested and get them looking at it?
Mhm.
And 5 out of 8, 5 out of 7, be an ambassador for the game. Don't make me do it. I
Yep.
don't I don't have time to learn something new to the point of being able to go nuts about it. Come in, bug me. Come in and run events. Not one event, mind you. The first event doesn't mean crap. It's
Yeah.
the second one that matters. That's the one that shows that people are serious. That's the post learn to play event that says now things are on the line. Now I know what I'm doing. Um, do that. Be that guy. That's why I love seeing so many people buying bulk. I love seeing so many people distributing bulk and asking for decks and whatnot. Those stores see that and they're like, that's going to get me to at least try it.
Yeah. No, that's a great and I've been hearing that too, and I've seen it from a store perspective where, time is limited and they can't just take up a bunch of stuff. But there
Mhm,
needs to be somewhere in the flesh and blood profile, I think. If you say, I am an ambassador for this store, and
mhm,
like through that special type and account, you can't order product for that store, obviously, but you can set up different events with the gem IDs and all that stuff and host
yeah,
the
if I can
events.
get
Like that would be
ambassador,
perfect.
tournament organizer that isn't retail store would be super helpful.
Yes, but you affiliate with that store, and that store says, "Yes, that guy Bronson
Yeah,
is here for me. Like, they're my ambassador." That
yeah,
would make things so much better because then you
right.
could even like give promos to those ambassadors just as a little thing. But also,
Yeah,
dude,
community, thank you.
yeah, these skirmishes. I've seen recently. There's a tournament soon. I think it's coming up this weekend, and it has 100 plus people joining. So if you have 100 people for $20 each, that's $2,000 going directly to the store for literally
Right.
doing nothing for having this ambassador host a game online. That is just
Yeah.
beautiful. Like how
That's
I don't think you can help out a game store like any better way than doing that. And that's just like literally the time spent on Flesh and Blood is like zero for them. And yeah, I don't know. I've just
yeah. So the George story, the spice to add to it,
mhm.
um, is that so he told me a story where he opened up a card shop, and he was just like, "This is gonna fail."
Yeah, I
He
remember that
expected
story.
that. But yeah, so he's saying like these were magic guys. They were magic. And then one of his distributors said, "You got to try this game, Flesh and Blood."
Mm,
And he tried it. I was like, "Hey, this is cool. Let's bring it in. Let's just bring it in. Let's see what happens." And the guys that are at this card store start playing FNM, and then they start to learn Flesh and Blood. And they're like, "Oh wow, this is a fantastic game." And it gets to the point where they actually reach out and say, "So can we do Flesh and Blood instead of Friday Night Magic on Friday?" Like that's how
wow.
successful it was. Um, but I asked George, is like, "Do you advocate for that? Like, if an ambassador were to come in and say, 'Can I set up shop on an FNM?'" He's like, "Do it. Go. Just sit in the corner. Even if nobody shows up, they're staring at you, wondering what the hell, and they're talking negative. And if they are, then someone's going to be curious.
Mm.
Um, like sit in a shop. I'm kind of tempted. I'm a little skeptic
Especially
about it.
if you ask the game store like, "Hey, can I just have this box of cards and just give them out for free?" Like the commons,
Mm,
like
yeah.
they probably wouldn't like that as much. But I mean, if you work something out with the
It kind of
store,
depends on if they make an investment because if they haven't made an investment in the taking away you're practically taking away money and forcing them to invest in something.
yeah,
I'm a little hesitant on that. Because yeah, I would hate for somebody who's like, "Oh, I really like Flesh and Blood." Outside of why don't you have it, it's gonna be for at least a couple $100 worth of sales. I found another store that has it. And then God forbid that other store is already hosting events. And now
yeah.
suddenly you're competing with that other store for your own market. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I
Uh,
think the thing I would tell the story is I don't think that the amount of Flesh and Blood you have to buy is very high at all. I think
no,
it's
get a
only
case.
like a case
Yeah, that's all
at
you
the
need.
minimum, right? And even if you just get a case to have people play the game and just I mean, that's kind of and especially at this point in the game when Monarch's coming out and everything's going to the moon, I mean, it's kind of
Mhm.
just free money at this point for a
Yeah,
local game store in a way. So, I don't know.
we'll see.
My
I'm
pitch
excited.
would
I
be
have
like, "Do you like tendies? Okay, do you like
yeah,
free tendies? Well, here you go. Here's the game."
yeah. I mean, let's talk about the armory kits and how much money that's
Oh
just
gosh,
for
yeah.
free that they distribute. You will get people in the door to do
Yeah.
those. Like,
And if you don't get them in the
stop.
door, you'll get them online, and if you hold a 60-person event, that's, $1,000 if it's $20 each. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
big money-making opportunity, but dude, I
If you
think
hold
it's
an
awesome
8-person
too
event
how
for
you're
armory,
Huh?
if you hold an 8-person event for armory, it's $40 that you weren't gonna get.
Exactly.
On
Yeah.
top of the chips you're gonna sell, because you probably sell chips and water.
And $40 is huge too, because how many booster and that's just pure profit. So it would have taken, I don't know, like 4 or 5 booster boxes to equal that, like, one of even if it's $40. I mean, that's what the
Yeah.
crazy thing at the end of the day is. It's pure profit going to the company. Instead of, okay, their cost basis in a booster box is 80 and they sell for 90, they mean $10 each. So yeah, it's just
Mhm.
overall good. But dude, I love how I really want to see your what is it? The intro sheets that you have behind you. Like send me
Yeah,
that
I'll send
PDF after
you
that, and I'll put a link down below to wherever you house that online. Because dude, that is perfect for the new players of the game, and that's what people I think, and that stuff's going to be really popular in the future because people are going to be getting into Monarch, and there's a lot of content out there that is like, okay, it's geared to people who've already been in the game, but that kind of stuff is really helpful for people who are picking stuff up because it's hard at first, man. It's hard to learn the heroes and what they do because
Mhm.
the game just changes when you play a
Mhm.
different hero. Right? Like when you play
Yeah, oh,
Dash
completely.
versus Reinar, it's a completely different game.
Yeah, I've never played Bravo or Ryan. I've never played the big hitters. I've always been like combo jankiness. So, but yeah, I'm excited for it. I've gotten some pretty good feedback on those so far. It definitely helped a couple people. I'm amazed at how many people took Kano from the Learn to Play event because I had him as like my top tier of like very hard to figure out. Like
Oh
his
yeah.
difficulty curve is insane. Um, But sure enough, somebody's like, I want that challenge. Give me
That's
Kano.
awesome.
Like, all right,
He's
let's
that
do
type
this.
A type of person, like, I can do the hardest
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Oh man. Same with that event. There's this kid. I don't. He must have been like 13, 14 years old. They gave out a free pack just for participating. He pulls a
Mhm.
skull cap.
Oh my gosh.
Double pack.
And did he say that, "Is this card good at all?" It's just like a cap.
Like, I mean, he definitely saw. I was like, oh wow, this seems awesome.
Oh,
And
okay,
what
good.
sucks is I bought 6 packs from that box right before that. And I was gonna buy 6 more. Because I got crap.
Uh-huh.
I was like, damn it, I was gonna buy 6 more. But at the end of the day, I'm happier that he got it. It's gonna be better in his hands than mine because he's coming back. I'm
Yeah.
already in.
That skull cap will be just like your, Blood Sheath Skeleton to him. You know, that one
Yeah,
card that he got early on that he was just really
rich
happy about.
people want
Yeah,
this.
rich people want this. Well, I mean, competitors want that one too, because I mean, the extra
It's good.
2 health. But yeah, man,
Yeah,
it's been a
it's
lot of fun
fantastic.
talking with you, Joey. You know,
Yeah.
I kept you a lot. I really appreciate you talking with me, man. And
Oh, you and I could probably do. I brought another one just in case it happened, and that's fine because you got to come on. You got to come on Decks and Drafts, grab a
I
beer and play a game, and we got to do some blitz.
I'm down, man. Whenever you want. Yeah, we're gonna play some Blitz. Gonna have a good time. Is there anything else you want to plug for your channel? I really like how you're, you know, catering to new players and you're just having a good time. You're like me, man. You're having fun playing the game and you're drinking a beer and having a good time. But what do you want
Yeah.
to
So
plug? What are you gonna do with the
sure,
channel?
I keep coming up with kind of fun things that I can do that are like kind of beer related, and I can do a beer pun around. But the big focus of the channel is to really just chat with people like yourself, collaborators, creators. Honestly, you don't even have to be hot. You don't have to be hot shit. If you're just like, I just got into the game and I want to grab a beer, set up a camera, let's talk, and let's play a game. And that's what I want Decks and Drafts to be, is just enjoying the game over beer. But on top of that, because I'm also a janky player kind of guy, I want to figure out the stuff that doesn't work
I'm that way
and make
too.
it work.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm meeting with what is it, Midian? I forgot what his name is, but Midian,
Yeah, median guard,
um,
right?
something like that. I forgot. I'm
Yeah, median guard.
so
Yeah, I don't know his
yeah.
exact name, but yeah, I've seen that
He
channel.
does
He's
he does,
cool.
like, play style stuff, and he talks about the game itself, like, just good tactics and so on and so forth, and that's kinda what his focus is. So I'm gonna collab with him, because I came up with something called Brew and a Brew,
Hmm.
where we deck brew and then have beer. So,
Love
it's a
it.
brew and a brew. There you go. Because I wanna make Azalea work. Oh god, what's he working on? I think he's working Bravo. I think he's
Oh,
working on
bravo.
Bravo. I also want to make Data Doll work. I want to figure her out. I think you gotta go opt crazy. And then I think that's her. I think that's what you got to do. Get some Whisper the Oracle in there. Um,
Yeah, that sounds
but
right.
yeah, brew and a brew. So hey guys out there, if you made it this far and you have a wonky idea for a deck and you're seeing cards that nobody's playing, you're like, I think I know how to make this work. You should totally reach out and I'll get you for a brew and a brew. Where we're gonna make that thing work, and you can kick my butt with it live all you want. Prove that it works, and then we're gonna change the meta. That's what we're doing
I love it,
with the
man. I'll put
company
the link
welcome.
down below to, you know, how to reach out to you for that. And that sounds really
Yeah,
cool because you're right. I mean, I think the game is such a baby when it comes to the meta that there's so many
yeah.
things that haven't really been explored. And you try
Mhm.
some janky ass stuff, and maybe 80% of the time it doesn't work, but that 20% of the time where you're like, whoa, this was pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I want to see more stuff like what you do. I want to see more stuff about the game itself. The last thing that I want, not that I'm attacking any doing it because good stuff, is that if I search for Flesh and Blood on YouTube because I'm curious about it, my top 10 options have big dollar signs talking about how crazy the market is.
mm,
If I'm exploring the game, I'm done exploring the game. I think that's a little too intimidating. So I want to saturate with some cool shit about the game, guys. But again, I love everybody who's talking about the market. Just
oh yeah, yeah, and it's
Mhm.
good to talk about, but there's so many different aspects, and it's been the big flashy thing because of the dollar signs goes into the what the 5 figures now, which is just
$50,000
nuts.
for a heart?
I couldn't even
Shut up.
imagine, dude. If I'd get that, I'd like become homeless. Be like, I'm homeless,
Yeah,
but I got this BGS 9.5 heart. But
$35,000, great price, PM. Okay,
yeah,
salary.
But
It's a bad salary,
but
but
overall, I feel you, and I think it's coming. I think there's going to be a huge wave of gameplay people with the new sets, and yeah,
Mhm.
love what you're doing with it, everything, man. Joey,
For
it's been
sure.
an
Love what you're
honor and
doing,
a
man.
privilege.
For
Appreciate it.
sure.
Talk to you later.
Yep, yep. Cheers.
Peace.